matter for India. We now want to matter for India, and I think that's the unlock that this country needs, and it's coming. Okay, so enough about India. Let's quickly talk about AI. And what you see on this chart is a set of customers.
Please welcome Puneet Chandok, President, Microsoft India and South Asia.
Good morning, Bengaluru. How's the Josh? Come on, how's the energy? It is amazing to see all of you here, and there are 1,000+ developers around. I don't know if I should call this a room or a hall or a stadium. There are many more outside, and there are many more watching live. So thank you for being here. Today is all about you. You are the developers, you are the builders, you're the ones who are building this country, you're the ones who are moving this country forward, and we're so thrilled to have all of you. I'm a coder at heart. I started coding late 90s. I remember the first language I picked up was C and then C++. I don't know if anybody codes in. I remember the book was called Letter C. People remember it? Okay. I was thinking I'm in a different generation. But I remember the first program I wrote, it was a stupid game I made, but that day my worldview changed. I felt I can build something, right? And all of you build every day, so we're so glad to have all of you here. And by the way, looking at the days of letter C and letter C++, look at where we've come with AI. If you look at the picture behind me, it's an absolutely outstanding view of Bangalore, or Bengaluru as we know it, and in the future that's coming our way. This is made by Copilot. I asked it to build it last night. I said I should welcome you in Bengaluru style. But we've got a really exciting lineup for you today, folks. I'll bring in Satya on the stage in a few minutes, and I know you're all waiting for him. Yes, Satya is going to be here in a few minutes, and he's going to talk about how AI is going to shape not just our lives and our organizations, but our societies and our country. And I'm really looking forward to that. And after that, I have a few of my favorite people coming on stage. Rajiv Kumar, who runs IDC, the Microsoft IDC in India. Charumati Srinivasan, who runs all of our cloud and AI capabilities in India. And Sandeep Allur, who runs the Microsoft Technology Center in India. They're going to come and have a real conversation around how AI is going to change what you do every day. How AI is going to change engineering development every day. With that, by the way, I also want to welcome a set of people who are not in the room. Can we roll the video, please? And I said, I'm amazed to see 100,000 people around in the room today. But we've got 2 million professional student developers across India who are engaged with Microsoft and everything that we're doing in AI. And today, I'm so proud to tell you that 100,000 developers from across the country, from 100 Microsoft developer communities, from 100 cities are watching this live today. So the 300s, 100,000, 100 cities, 100 developer communities. Welcome to all of them. Welcome to all the people who are live streaming and joining us. We're so glad to have you. You're the ones who make India the AI powerhouse that it is. So with that, let's get going. By the way, I have a confession to make. I'm relatively new at Microsoft. I'm 5 months in, so I'm still trying to find my groove, learn every day. So I needed help to pull this event together. And I went to my colleagues for help, but I also went to Copilot for help. And I asked Copilot, what should be most interesting for developers who are coming in to listen to Microsoft and what's happening in AI? What are the topics that will be top of the mind for them? It gave me a list of 4 or 5 really interesting ideas. But the 3 that I picked up that I will talk about today, number 1, what makes India unstoppable? What's really going on in India today? What's the shift that we're seeing every day around us? Number 2, what makes AI unstoppable? What's really shifting? And Satya will go really deep in this as well. And then finally, the most important part, what can make each one of you in this room and the 100,000 people who are logging in unstoppable together, right? So that's what I'll attempt to do. Let's get going with India. My favorite quote on India is by a guy called Ruchir Sharma, who said, India is a country that consistently disappoints both the pessimist and the optimist. India is a country that consistently disappoints both the pessimist and the optimist. But that is changing now. We're only disappointing the pessimists. And I'll show you why. And there are lots of statistics on this page. I'm not going to go through all of them. You know these numbers. Everybody in India knows these numbers. But I'll just pick three of them quickly for you. Number one, we know India's got 100,000 startups. We're the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. But do you know India is producing 100 new startups every day? 100 new startups are coming up around you, a lot of them in Bangalore and Hyderabad and different cities. But 100 new startups, which is more than any other country in the world. And that's an outstanding number. Every sixth, by the way, that's worth a clap for sure. Thank you. I'll give you another statistic which is worth a clap, and I'm kind of edging for claps now. But every sixth AI developer in the world today, every sixth AI developer, AI researcher is coming from our nation. Every sixth developer. It is just outstanding to see what you all are building. And finally, the last statistic that I'll give you, which is on the bottom of this chart, 25% of the incremental global workforce, 25% of the incremental global workforce over the next decade will come from India. Now, if that's not impact on the world, I don't know what it is, right? So it's incredible. But more than these numbers, there's something else that's shifting in India today. Indians are dreaming big. All of you are dreaming big like never before. And more than just dreaming big, we're all chasing our dreams like our lives depend on it. Like our lives depend on it. And I think that is the big shift that's happening. And this will lead this generation, which is all of you, this generation of Indians, to redefine everything. Redefine everything from work to success to morality to technology. And I think that's the shift that's happening in India, which the world is now starting to notice. India matters to all of us, and I can say it for a fact. I can look at your eyes and your faces. India matters to all of us, but we now want to matter for India. We now want to matter for India, and I think that's the unlock that this country needs, and it's coming. Okay, so enough about India. Let's quickly talk about AI. And what you see on this chart is a set of customers in India. You know all of these logos. We work with them every day. They're all building on Microsoft. They're building AI on Microsoft. And our purpose in India, as Microsoft India, is to be the most trusted, the most innovative AI partner for India. AI for everyone. That's why we get out of beds every day. That's what we're trying to do every day. And we've moved from talking about AI to applying AI at scale. And customers always vote with their feet. We all know this. And if you look at this chart, there's a march going on towards Microsoft when it comes to AI. And by the way, these are not just logos. There are real stories behind them. And we've got lots of material outside. At some point, when you're walking out, you should look at this. But there are lots of showcases and use cases that we're pulling together of real impact. Let me come to the final part of the conversation. India is becoming unstoppable. AI is getting better and delivering real impact every day. How can all of you become unstoppable? And I'll give you 3 simple tips. I'll go to first principles. I'll keep it very simple. The first, and these are my 3 calls to action, learn AI. And this is my cute take on AI IQ. I call it AIQ. Pardon me for that. But I genuinely believe that the opposite of knowledge on AI today is not ignorance. It's not ignorance. It's the illusion of knowledge. Sometimes I feel I'm trying to figure this out and I'm there. I'm not there by a mile. We all have to learn. And if you're not learning every day, and by the way, that's something you should teach us. You guys learn every day. But if you're not learning about AI every day, you are falling behind. Don't do that. Learn every day. Number 2, unlock productivity. Start using copilots. And I showed you the picture. I showed you Copilot help me pull this agenda together. And my own personal productivity, my email productivity has gone up by 50%. 2/3 of my emails I don't write anymore. A lot of my meetings get transcribed and the action and the summaries come together beautifully. It drives a ton of effectiveness. In the US, we're seeing 30 minutes of time saved per user per day. Imagine if all of you get 30 minutes of time back every day to things that really matter to you. Don't miss the opportunity. And by the way, AI, as I said, right, I started by saying learning. You have to learn, but learning is only abstract unless you really put this into practice. And finally, drive AI capabilities in the organizations you work with. Don't just make sure that people around you, the ecosystem, the organization, they're not just dipping their toes, but they're actually using AI. So I'll keep it simple. Learn it, use it, deploy it. Learn it, use it, deploy it, and that's how we get going. And then, of course, we need to work on data and governance to bring all of this together. Let me wrap this up, and I'm going to leave you with 3 messages quickly, folks. India is not just incredible, it's also credible now. It's the most exciting market in the world today, and it's a privilege to be in India today as Indians building for India. AI is truly becoming unstoppable. It's real now. The impact is real. And finally, all of you can be unstoppable if you learn it every day, if you use it with co-pilots, unlock productivity, and get started in your organizations and move everybody around you to get going with momentum. With that, I'm going to quote the man I'm going to bring on the stage. He said, "Our industry does not respect tradition. It respects innovation. It only respects innovation. And there couldn't be a better time in India today to innovate with AI. And with that, it's truly a privilege for me to invite on stage Satya Nadella, Chairman and CEO of Microsoft." Oops, sorry, Satya, I didn't see you. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Puneet. It's wonderful. It's wonderful always to be back in India, and it's obviously wonderful to be in a room full of developers. I always remind myself that Microsoft, at the end of the day, is a developer company. We got started building tools, and here we are, close to 50 years since our founding, as excited about building tools and platforms for developers. Having lived through my 32 years at Microsoft, 4 major platform shifts, PC, client, server, web, internet, mobile cloud, and now the 4th one being AI. One of the things as developers I think is super important for us is to be very grounded in what really changed, what's new. What is this platform shift about and dimensionalizing it? I think even last year when I was here, we were all excited about ChatGPT had just come out, and we had lots of fun about sort of what all it could do. And in a year's time, things have progressed. And I think even we have a better understanding of what are the 2 dimensions of this platform shift that I think all of us as developers have to, fundamentally sort of really deeply understand and then take advantage of. If you take the 70 years or so of computing history, one of the dreams has always been, can we create computers that understand us versus us understanding computers, right? If you can go back, right, one of the things, even today, when you go back and read Vannevar Bush's paper, As We May Think, or read any paper by Engelbart, that was it. They were really trying to get computers to understand us versus us trying to understand computers. And I think we finally may be there. With this breakthrough of natural language, or models that understand natural language, computers that can hold a conversation, because after all, a conversational interface is ultimately the easiest, most natural user interface. The fact that it can be multimodal, text, images, video, in and out. The fact that it can be arbitrary length conversations, the fact that you can have multiple domain conversations, right? I can talk about cricket and I can talk about baseball and it won't get confused. All of that, I think, does allow us to actually have a very different approach to user experience. So that's, I think, the first one. Then the second thing is, one of the fundamental things we as developers do is digitize, right? We digitize people, places, and things, right? We put it into data models, and then we query it, we reason about it. That's essential. Like, all of computing is fundamentally getting up in the morning and digitizing, and then trying to make, really build insights and analytical power and predictive power from that data. Now we have a new tool in our arsenal. We have this new reasoning engine. Think of it as a neural reasoning engine, right? Which can find patterns, give us that predictive power, right? When you think about a continuation, a summarization, all of these are new things that allow us to make sense of all of the data being digitized. So I feel that as developers, for us to really understand the power of these two platform shifts, or these two capabilities that are part of this platform shift, I think is perhaps the most important thing. And that's why and all this is obviously at the end of the day only going to be worth it if we can take this and as input that drives economic growth in India, right? To me, that's what grounds us even as a company, to be able to say, how can this AI contribute to economic growth in the United States? There's some fantastic statistics that something like 10% of what is going to be India's GDP growth can come from the output, quite frankly, of all of you in the room. And so that, I think, is what's at stake. And that's what grounds us in our mission to empower every person and every organization in India to be able to achieve more as fast and really take advantage of this platform shift. That means empowering developers in India to be able to build the products and services and scenarios, not only for India, but for the world. And that's what's exciting. For that reason, what we've done is basically taken this platform shift and etched it into the length and breadth of every layer of Microsoft's stack. People ask me, hey, what's the AI product? I'd say everything. What we are doing, whether it's in the infrastructure, to the data layer, to the tools, every part of what we have done as a company now thinks about AI as first class. It's not a bolt-on from first principles. How do we build? Like, in fact, having sort of worked in our data center business for now close to 15 years, I myself cannot recognize even the core system architecture of what's powering these clouds today is so different than even the thing that I started with maybe 15 years ago. And so it's fantastic to see how, from a first principles basis, we are able to change every layer of the stack. Now, the opportunities ultimately, when I had a chance to even see a lot of showcase applications that are being built, you can change employee experience. You can change the customer engagement. You can change every business process application across every industry. And most importantly, the curve of innovation in any organization can fundamentally be bent. And I think that's I would call it the transformational opportunity that is really in front of us. And that's what leads to the three imperatives for all of us that I wanted to talk about. The first one is all about being able to use these co-pilots, right? Ultimately, the idea is to be able to use a co-pilot to really help us empower ourselves to be able to do more. Now, I love the design decision we made back in the day to say, let's put human agency and humans in the loop with powerful AI so that we can achieve more, right? That's as much of a design decision. And that pattern, I think, has really picked up. In fact, the first time I fell in love with this was when I saw, I think, GPT-3. It was called something else. We had an internal code name for it. It was actually a derivative of GPT-3 in the context of GitHub. And when I first saw GitHub Copilot is when I sort of felt like, wow, the age of these LLMs has really come a long way. And the fact that we didn't even train it, quite frankly, on code, and it sort of learned coding, was the fact that it had scaling effects working and emergent capability. And that's when I felt if you put that into a right design metaphor, we can achieve some real big breakthroughs. And that was the genesis of GitHub Copilot. And of course, now we have the Microsoft Copilot and Copilots by business process for sales and service and for security and what have you. And really, this age of Copilots has taken off. In fact, we're going to launch a new ad as part of Super Bowl this Sunday in the United States. So we thought we'll just roll it out for you to just take a look at what the age of Copilot could mean. Go ahead and roll it.
Good morning.
Watch me.
Just watch me now. Just watch me now. I got something for you, a little more for you. You won't believe.
it's very exciting. I remember when I first saw ChatGPT, it was sort of like, seeing Mosaic for the first time in '93. And similarly, I think when I look at this Copilot, you can see all of these software categories that we know of, operating systems, browsers, productivity software, what have you, IDEs. All of them can collapse into this one user interface, which is essentially a Copilot that can be invoked by your intent and really not just give you the answers, but to create, to be able to take action. So we're at the beginning of a very, very exciting Cambrian explosion when it comes to software innovation, and also a grand collapse of a lot of the software categories today. And so a tremendous opportunity. And you see the productivity stats, by the way. Already, I think Puneet was talking about his own personal use of productivity and how much time it saves. It's knowledge turns. Andy Grove used to talk a lot about this thing called knowledge turns inside organizations. Everything gets faster. What's the power of AI? It's kind of like lean brought to knowledge work. I feel that anything that you do, you can do it so much faster. Can it be coding? Can it be responding to an email, making sense in a meeting? Things that I think we spend a lot of time on. If only you got faster, what does it mean to our organizational output? So it's an exciting time for all of this. And lots of customers right here for all these Copilots in India. It's tremendous to see. Of course, this being a developer conference, the thing that we want to talk most about is GitHub Copilot. It's been revolutionary. Nowadays, I can go into my weekends and actually start a dev project and complete it. And especially the combination of code spaces and GitHub Copilot has been a game changer. Setting up environments used to be such a pain, and now it's just such a joy because somebody else does it for you. But overall, I think that the productivity of developers is something that we care deeply about. And in fact, today, the customers that we have, some of the biggest startups, whether it's Swiggy or Misho, are using it. In fact, I had a chance to meet with the Open Healthcare Network folks. That's a community that was born on GitHub. It's fantastic to see what they're doing, right? So they built an open source EMR system. They even built an open source tele EMR system. It's just superb, and it sort of obviously composes with the rest of what's happening in India, which is so unique around these digital public goods, and the fact that they're now available in 200+ hospitals across, 9 states in India, and it all was a pandemic project that's just taken on a life of its own. But the cool thing was they all use GitHub Copilot. Everybody who is part of the open source community building this is using GitHub Copilot, and it's helping them, by the way, do the code, definitely do the testing, and then most importantly, super helpful with docs. And that's what's really making the community sort of that much more productive, and it's fantastic to see that. HCL, for example, is using GitHub Copilot, but they're also integrating the workflows from between the developer workflows and the Microsoft 365 Copilot. So there's lots and lots of innovation, I think, that's happening around Copilots, and it's exciting to see. India is a place where, what the momentum around developers and development is unbelievable. Today, as we speak, India is number 2, only next to the United States in terms of the total number of developers on GitHub, and it's going to cross in 2028, I believe, or 2027. It's going to cross, so it's going to be the place where the most number of developers are going to be in. Second, even the AI projects, right? I mentioned this even the last time I was here. I was pretty stunned when I saw the number of Gen AI projects on GitHub with Indian contributors is, again, next to the United States. So it's just awesome to see the human capital of this country really embrace this new platform and effectively lead the new platform shift. And it's wonderful to see that. So congratulations to all of you all. And to sort of really talk about that, right, which is what does it mean to have these tools not just be things that you use that were built in the West, but tools that work for all of you and really give, I would say, that Indian flavor to it. So one of the things that I'm very excited about is some of the Indic language and GitHub Copilot coming together. And to show you all of that and more, I wanted to invite Karan up on stage from our GitHub team to do a quick demo of GitHub. Karan?
Hello everyone, really nice to see such a large audience. eager to know about GitHub Copilot and what it can do for you. All right, so today I'm going to show you 3 things GitHub Copilot can do for you. Explain code that's already been written, create code you need to write, and also collaborate with others when creating pull requests. So let's get started. All right, so here I have a website I'm building with TypeScript using GitHub Copilot, and I want to add some sign-up functionality to this. So let's first add a sign-up button. I'll write a comment for it, and GitHub Copilot writes the code for me, working with me along the way. So, all right, there it is. Now, I want to make sure my customers are protected with secure passwords, and I need some guidance on that. So my colleague gave me a simple password validation code to start with, but it's a regular expression and hard to read. With GitHub Copilot, it truly feels like I'm working with a pair programmer. And in this case, I can use the /explain command with GitHub Copilot chat to help explain code that I'm unfamiliar with, even if it's a regular expression. And here's the amazing part. I can even do this in Hindi by asking it an equivalent of what does this regex do. So I can ask it, ye regex kya karta hai? Fantastic, right? So you see how GitHub Copilot picks up its cues on how I would like the answer based on how I ask the question. Now, GitHub Copilot chat can also be invoked inline, so it can work with the code in place. So to get to it, just hit Control or Command I. Now, I'll ask Copilot to help me write the entire sign-up page. And this time, I'm going to again ask it in Hindi. But this time, I'm going to notch it up further and ask it in the Devanagari script, all right? So I'm going to ask it, एक English sign-up page बनाए जो email password और password confirmation मांगता है. And amazing. So you can see that GitHub Copilot didn't just understand what I wanted in Hindi. It's actually written the entire code for me. So I'm going to accept that change. And like a good programmer, I'm going to add one other small thing to make this work, but again, using GitHub Copilot. So I'm going to go back and then see, OK, so I can keep iterating on this website by highlighting code and asking Copilot for a change. So this time, I'll ask it to style the form, and I'll also ask it to solve the second hardest problem in software development, centering a div. So, but this time, I'm going to write it in Telugu script, all right? So I'm going to ask it, Tailwind CSS ni upayoginchi dini style cheyandi, and so on. I'm going to be gentle and then ask it, and let's see, nice. So it gives me, it styles me, and that looks good, so I'm going to accept that change, go back, and yes. All right, so let's get a pull request created and submitted to my team for review. But like me, GitHub Copilot is not just in the editor, it's also with me on github.com. So GitHub Copilot can help generate a description of the changes in the pull request, and it doesn't just list the changes, it also gives you useful, meaningful description of what the change actually does. And the best part is that it also gives you deep links to the lines of code that has changed. That's it. I've shown you how your patient, multilingual pair programmer can help you explain code, create code, and collaborate with others so you can build more faster. Thank you.
I tell you, regular expressions in any language are hard. I mean, now we have /explain. I'll tell you, nightmares. You know, it's so fantastic to see the innovation in GitHub Copilot. I think the thing that he showed in the last, was just awesome, right? To me, what I think where we're going, in fact, at GitHub Universe, we showed the last demo. I think that's the future, where we don't start just with the Copilot, but we start with a PR. In fact, we start with an issue. And then it generates the right PRs for everyone else to be able to then use Copilot to complete the task. And I think that's sort of the agentic future that we can look forward to. It's going to be a tremendous world. Look, I think the next imperative, of course, is let's say we have the best tools, right? Here we are as software developers, we have the best tools. Then it's time to change the world. That is, build your own AI applications. So that's the real I would say the exciting part of this platform shift. Now, to do that, one of the things we are doing is taking effectively the stack we have used underneath GitHub Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, underneath ChatGPT, and making it available to all of you, right? Every layer of it, starting right at the infrastructure. We're building out the data center footprint. As I said, what is a data center region or an Azure region today, especially with what's happening with sort of the AI accelerators, is unlike anything I've seen. Everything from the power draw to the HVAC system to the liquid cooling is going to really change the landscape. And the other exciting thing for us is to sort of really have that sort of spread around the world. In India, we now have 4 regions, or we have 3 regions forthcoming, and we'll keep expanding so that you have the compute resources you need. We're also building the best AI infrastructure, so these AI accelerators for training large models. One of the things is these are very interesting workloads, right? Having sort of lived through the big data age, and I thought, I understood data parallelism. But these are synchronous workloads that really are low latency. And so therefore, thinking about the memory hierarchy very differently, thinking about, obviously, the silicon very differently, and that's what we're building for large training and inference and small batch training. So we have, by the way, there's fantastic innovation happening all the way from silicon up, right? So this is a great time to be in that combination of a hardware, software engineer, where you're thinking about system architecture. The other thing that's exciting, by the way, is Moore's Law is fully working. Moore's Law is absolutely working when it comes to AI accelerators. So that's another area where I think anything that's sort of super expensive today, you can be assured that the cogs are going to come down. So one of the things that I tell our developers at Microsoft is be super ambitious today about what you can build with the best models, knowing that in 18 months' time, it's going to be 1/10, 100th the cost of what it is today. And that's a very empowering thing. There's no other input in the world that has that type of price characteristics. So infrastructure is one, AI infrastructure. Then, of course, the models themselves, right? These are new platforms. We have the best large models with all of the GPT varieties, GPT, GPT-V, GPT-4 Turbo, all of that's available to you. We have all the open source models. In fact, whether it's Mistral, whether it's Llama, we want to make sure that the best open source models are available. We also have a model catalog with everything from the Hugging Face on. So exciting time to be able to access all these models. The other thing that I'm very, very pleased to see is that this is not the last of model architecture breakthroughs. There is real new breakthroughs even happening in model architectures. And to me, to see what's happening with Phi, or small language models, is one of the most leading models for when it comes to small language models that Microsoft built. And it's a different approach to even training, right? So instead of thinking of training on all tokens, what if we could train on these reasoning tokens, right? The original paper was Attention is All You Need, which was the transformer paper, and the paper we wrote was Textbooks is All You Need. And it's sort of intuitive, right? So when you want to learn something new, you don't go and say, let me read everything about it, I'll read the textbook. And so the idea is if that applies cognitively to us, it should apply even to AI training. And so we'll see how it is, how it'll progress, but I'm very, very bullish based on the results we have seen today. And so we have a very, very aggressive roadmap to keep advancing Phi. You can run Phi, obviously, in the cloud. You can run it on your phone or a PC. And so you'll see a lot of great stuff happening in the SLM space as well. And I'm excited to see sort of new innovative startups right here in India. In fact, I had a chance to meet with the founders, Pratyush and Vivek from Sarvam AI. And of course, Pratyush worked at MSR in India before, and we're excited to support them building out their LLM, which is trained on all the Indic languages. In fact, the demo they showed me is tremendous. It's kind of like taking that voice mode that you have today in ChatGPT and making it available effectively for any application developer to be able to have as the front end for their application in India with all of the Indic languages is fantastic to see. And they have unbelievable scenarios that they're building out. So let's just roll the video to give you a flavor for what they're up to.
Running any business is hard, but it's impossible if you don't know what your customers want. What if you could talk to your customers easily?
Hello.
Go deeper.
मतलब वैरायटी थोड़ी कम है.
Take feedback.
सापाड़ा पोटा नल्ला इरुक्कुम.
in their own language.
आपके अकाउंट में कुछ सस्पिशियस एक्टिविटी पाई गई। क्या मैं आपसे कुछ सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ?
With AI, you can understand thousands of such conversations in mere minutes. Read between the lines and understand what people are truly thinking. Insights that can change what you build and how you build it.
It's awesome. It's exciting to see. I mean, you can imagine, right? So you can take something like GPT-4, you can daisy chain it with Saravam, and then create these types of applications, which can have fantastic impact in any Indian language and the mix of Indian languages. The other area of model development that I'm very excited about is not just about human text or human modalities, but also trying to learn the language of nature. Because that's another ultimate dream, right? So if you're going to really tackle, say, one of the hard challenges in front of us, which is the energy transition, you have to take something like 250 years of development of, say, chemistry, and compress it into 25 years. And that means you got to really take what we've done with, let's say, HPCs and so on, with simulation, and accelerate it. And an AI can absolutely play a massive, massive role. In fact, I think about this, right? If you sort of thought about HPCs as simulation layer, and in fact, quantum ultimately will be the accelerant to that simulation layer, think of the AI layer as the emulation layer of that simulation, right? So think of it as reducing the search space, helping us, let's say, find a de novo molecule for material science. And one of the things that we're very excited about is, say, something like MatterGen, which is a new model that we have, which we used in order to develop some new materials. In fact, we round-tripped this. We worked with one of the national labs in the United States, came up with a set of molecules, fabricated a new battery, which reduced the lithium content by 70%. All right, so it's absolutely possible for the next startup in India that goes after batteries for, let's say, EVs or what have you, to come up with new material science, essentially, to change what the assumptions are. And I think that if you think about the hierarchy, starting from cells to materials, all the way to biology being the hardest, we can start making real breakthroughs with some of the same models that we have used for language. Of course, we will also have different model architectures. One of the other architectures is, why should we not give some inductive bias to these models? So, for example, a graph former has a graph that has knowledge and a transformer bolted on. And so that's the thing that we're using for a lot of the biology stuff. So I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of model innovation. And all of these will be available to you like any large language model as well. And so science, and in fact, I know in India now we have sort of some of the core tech companies that are coming up in all of these fields. And so it'll be exciting to see what all you can do in accelerating science. Of course, when you think about the stack, the data layer, right, with models is fantastic. You have the infrastructure, you have the models, but the next layer is data. Everything about the data layer has to be rethought, where there is not only the traditional stuff, right? You run SQL queries, you can run Spark, but you're also going to run these large language models on top of that same data. So that means thinking about whether it's a vector indices or what have you built into your databases. That's what we've done, whether it's in Postgres, whether it's in SQL or in Cosmos DB. We have Azure Search, which is what is, in fact, the retrieval inside of ChatGPT is powered by Azure Search. So all of these are, again, Azure services that you can use inside of your applications whenever you need an embedded vector space. So that's sort of one side of it. The other thing that I'm very excited about is Fabric, right? One of the ideas we always had was, how do we change or disaggregate what is considered a database today? So there is the OneLake storage system. There is a computational system, which, by the way, you can have SQL, Spark, or Azure OpenAI. All three are just compute jobs. And then you have a business model. As a developer building an application, I can sort of mix match whatever compute on top of all of this on one reserved instance, if you will. And so I think this is going to have a profound impact on how we think about even the data layer in conjunction with the rest of the application. So that's another one. And of course, the next up is the tool chain. As I said, we're a developer company, we're a tools company, and we're building out the tools, whether it's GitHub, VS Code on one side, whether it's the low-code, no-code tools with Power Platform, bringing it all together with Azure OpenAI, or Azure AI as a tool chain, which has access to all these models, and AI ops being built in, and so on. So definitely the tool chain focus is a big, big deal for us, and you have now the access to it. And, you know, it is fantastic. I had a chance to meet a bunch of developers who went through, 100,000 of them who went through this Odyssey initiative. So congratulations. It's great to see all of you picking up new skills because that's the currency today of being able to take your AI skills and then convert it into projects that you're doing, whether it's in school, whether it's at work, whether it's in a nonprofit. I think that's the impact that I'm really looking forward to seeing in the years to come. And again, in terms of the applications being built, they're built. You know, I had a chance even yesterday in Mumbai to see some of these demos of you know, what Air India built in terms of an agent. You know, it was very, very cool. In fact, it's one of the best agents I've seen in terms of being able to not just get all of the travel planning done, but to take action right there. And so it's sort of tools use inside of a bot is what they're doing. It's great. Arvind, which is one of the oldest companies in India, is, you know, think about the rate of diffusion. So software developers working in that company were able to sort of build a contract management system for their legal department. But more interestingly, one of the things in this age is that it's no longer about just information at your fingertips, but it's expertise at your fingertips. So it's not just the legal department that now has a bot or it has a co-pilot for being able to make sense of contracts, but anybody in the company, especially in the commercial side of the organization, can also use these co-pilots to make sense of contracts, right? So that's the type of workflow change that I think one can expect. Jugalbandi, this is the thing that really floored me the last time I was in India. It was fantastic to see the progress they're making. Again, Microsoft Research, along with the Jugalbandi team, built a low-code, no-code tool so that any nonprofit organization can start using these LLMs to build new tools. And I think there's a video, or you know, this is the ambient of what you can do in terms of building out these tools. It's fantastic to see the nonprofit organizations embracing it. And I also had this morning the chance to see Siksha, which is being built out by, and again, a nonprofit organization right here. And the beauty of their approach is everybody talks about students. We know that. I think one of the dreams of being able to deliver personalized tutoring to every student in the world is absolutely something that we can do. But one of the things that I always think about is really empowering teachers, because at the end of the day, if we can put tools in the hands of teachers, they have the ability, quite frankly, to inspire more students than any AI can. And so to me, really having Siksha really be that tool that allows teachers to be able to do their job more effectively. So let's roll the video.
Sikshana Foundation started as an NGO that's focused on the education sector. We are working in 6 states across India in about 50,000 schools, impacting nearly 3 million students.
The public school system in India has been severely stressed. We found that typically a teacher handles multi-grade, multi-subjects, especially in the rural areas of the country. The biggest challenge was creating lesson plans.
Preparing those lesson plans, it was taking a lot of time because everything was manual. We were writing and writing and writing.
And that's where I felt technology can help.
Shiksha Co-Pilot is a generative AI solution where we want to empower teachers to create engaging content for their classroom. These teachers are able to generate lesson plans. They're taking the activities that are generated and they're using all of this content in the classroom.
Within 5 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes, I'm preparing that lesson plans.
It's very essential that any solution we roll out supports the local language.
ಟೀಚರ್ಗೇನು ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ನಾವು ಹಾಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬೇಕಾಯಿತು. ಆದರೆ ಈಗಿನ ಲೆಸನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ನೀಡಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟೀಚರ್ಗೆ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇದೆ.
Shiksha Co-Pilot is based on Azure OpenAI. It's grounded in local context.
ಈ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಯೋಗ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಶಿಕ್ಷಾ ಕೋ-ಪೈಲಟ್ ಲೆಸನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆದಂತ ಹೊಸ ಪ್ರಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಒಂದು ಖುಷಿ ಪಡ್ತಾರೆ.
The problems that are faced are pretty much universal. So if we have a solution that works in just one state in India, we think that solution can go global.
To me, when I see that video and when I had a chance this morning to meet them, the thing that sort of really inspires me is that combination of folks coming together, right? Which is Microsoft Research India, a nonprofit organization, and the teachers all co-designing it together. I mean, when you have that type of feedback loop creating new products, that's magic. And that, I think, is at the end of the day what we all live for, and it's fantastic to see that. So that brings me to the last imperative, which is, of course, thinking about security and AI safety as first-class part of our project, as opposed to something that we do after. It starts really with security. One of the things when we think about building powerful applications, powerful new models, what have you, you got to have a very robust security architecture, which is zero trust. Everything from the endpoints to identity to your application and infrastructure. And this is a huge, huge focus for us when it comes to really building out our security suite. So we're excited about that. So that's, I would say, the first layer. And it's not just having the products and the security layer, but to be able to have the operational security posture that allows you, right? As I always say, you can't get fit by watching others go to the gym. You got to get up in the morning and go to the gym yourself. And that's what really, I think, security is all about. The other aspect of it is the safeguards to all of your data, because the core asset in many cases is going to be your data. You want to be assured when it comes to whether it's a software developer or an enterprise, our promises are very clear. We're not going to use your AI or rather your data to train any large models. Your data, and your data is your data. Your AI models are protected, again, using that security architecture. And then also copyright. One of the things that we know is that all different countries will all come up with the copyright regime, but we do need an enlightened copyright regime. And in any case, we want to take the risk on behalf of developers and indemnify you so that you can use all of this, because at the end of the day, there is fair use. That's what has helped humanity get ahead in transformative technology, so you can't have an overburdened copyright regime. But at the same time, copyright needs to also be protected, because anybody who is producing content that's copyrightable should be copyrighted. And so the thinking of even training and fair use, and then what is copyright protection is all something that I think will all get settled in the years to come. But we definitely want to make sure that it doesn't stall the innovation. The last thing I would also say is that when we talk about AI safety, this is something I wrote a piece in Slate, I think in 2016. And since then, we've taken those principles, translated them into a set of corporate standards and a set of engineering practices, quite frankly. So it's not just a set of slides or a memo, but it's really, at the end of the day, you shift left, have a set of engineering practices that I'll think about AI safety. In fact, when I talk about Azure AI tooling, the most popular services, most important services are all the safety services, right, that we built. We built for Bing, we built for ChatGPT, we built for Copilot, are now available to all of you as developers to be able to use as part of anything that you do in order to have the classifiers in front of your applications and what have you. And then it's not just that, but also being able to do audit, right? So just like anything else, like quality has a test function, what's the audit function on AI safety? So that's, again, an approach that you all inside of your engineering practices can take around AI safety. So these are the three real imperatives, and hopefully that gives you a flavor for what's ahead of us in terms of the opportunity, as well as, I think, the tools, the platforms that we can exploit to build any application that you can dream of. So that's what grounds us. Ultimately, again, I want to end by where I started, which is our mission to empower every person and every organization in India, starting with you all as developers, to do more. And one of the things that I'm very excited also is to bring one of the initiatives which we've had called Code Without Barriers, and expanding to India and really helping 75,000 women developers by 2024. But one of the things is not just about skills, right? It's about being able to create economic opportunity for an increasingly skilled workforce. And in that context, I had a chance yesterday to meet the founder of Karya yesterday, along with one of the beneficiaries of what they're doing. It's just tremendous. And again, something that incubated in Microsoft Research. It is awesome for me. It gives me great pride to see work that happened right here in Bangalore in Microsoft Research now really become the foundation of Karya. And what they're doing is taking AI jobs effectively and part of the AI economy and taking those jobs all the way to rural India. So I want to leave you with that video. Have a fantastic rest of the conference. Thank you very, very much.
India has 22 official languages, and Marathi is actually a language that is spoken by millions and millions of people. But unfortunately, many Indian languages are under-resourced.
We cannot let language be the thing that does not allow you to use technology.
AI is a transformative technology. People deserve to have access to these amazing technologies in their language. Karya exists to accelerate social mobility in rural India by building AI-based solutions to help our communities. Our workers record sentences in their mother tongue on their smartphones. And for the simple task, we pay them nearly 20 times the Indian minimum wage. And that leads to a data set, so they keep on making royalties every single time those data sets are resold.
I think it is imperative that if we are changing someone's income structure in this way, that we also need to help them understand financial literacy.
आज सगळ्यांना आपल्याला आर्थिक साक्षरता शिकण्यासाठी मी इथे आहे आणि आपण हे कार्या ॲप मधून करणार आहोत.
रमेश आणि कल्पेश हे दोघेही रोजंदारीचे बांधकाम मजूर होते.
मी कधी ऐकलं नव्हतं मी माझा आवाज कधीच ऐकलं नव्हता की त्या कार्याकडनं मला त्या ॲप मुळे माझा आवाज कसा आहे हे मला माहित पडलं आणि त्याच्यामधून शिकायला पण भेटलं बँकिंगचं याचं कर्ज कसं घ्यायचं ती कशी बचत करायची मुलांच्या नावावर एफडी कशा करायच्या हे खूप खूप शिकलो. आम्हाला आता कुणाची गरज नाही की एटीएम मध्ये जायचंय आणि पैसे त्यांनी काढून आणून द्यावेत असं नाही आम्ही स्वतः करू शकतो.
Karya's platform is hosted on Azure. We use Azure Cognitive Services for our own AI-based validation work. And we're also using Azure OpenAI.
मला खूप आनंद वाटतो मला खरंच गर्व वाटतो की माझा आवाज कुठेतरी कोणतरी ऐकणार आहे आणि मी मराठीत बोलले त्याच्यामुळे कोणीतरी शिकणार आहे मला अभिमान वाटतो.
If you can solve it for India, you can solve it for the world.
Please welcome Sandeep Alur, CTO, Microsoft Technology Center, India.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. That was such a profound statement in the end. It's great to be here. Are you all pumped up? Yeah? Wonderful. We'll do something very unique this morning. By the way, I have the unique opportunity to host two celebrated leaders from Microsoft. Each of them has spent 30 plus years in the industry, 30 plus at Microsoft, by the way. They're developers at heart. And I thought, before I welcome them, we'll do a bit of a unique introduction for them. Yeah? Are you with me on this? Yeah. Okay. So before we get started, quick question. We saw a wonderful demo from Karan. He tells me it's GA, you can use it. How many of you are going to try a multi-language conversation with Copilot today after this? Ask in Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, it's fabulous, right? It's great. I don't know how it looks, but it should be fabulous. So, before we get going the conversation, we've used a term called Copilot all these ways. By the way, who is the pilot? Yeah? Right? Imagine I'm the developer, I'm the pilot, right? So I thought I'll ask my Copilot to give me a nice song, lyrics, for the theme, which is I'm the developer, I'm the pilot. Yeah? But we're going to make sure we never say the statement when the real pilot is there. Yeah? Because we are truly yeah. Let's do that. So my question to my Copilot is give me that song. Let's see what comes up. Should be very interesting. It uses Suno plugin, by the way. It's there in, Copilot. Isn't that cool? Looks, right? It's a wow thing, right? When I saw that for the first time, it's like, this is really cool. Yeah? There's a verse, there's a chorus. And look, I'm a developer, I'm the pilot in the world of zeros when I'm flying. Hi, it's really, really cool. But there should be music, correct? It's just lyrics. I said, we need a music. I thought we'll bring music and welcome my two guests. Are we ready? And again, this is my request. I'm a local boy. I know how crazy we are as developers in this city. We make loud noise, right? And when the music comes, they're coming on stage, let's give them a Bengaluru welcome. Can you do that? Yes. Okay, wonderful. So when the music begins, let's cheer them up. My first guest, she's CVP for engineering and 32 plus years in Microsoft and one of the most celebrated leaders, and we all look up to her. Put your hands together when the music comes, okay? And welcome Charu Srinivasan. Let's go. Now on, Charu, welcome. Please. Say, oh, right, that doesn't, it's literally, it's magic, right? We all know the fact that this innovation in front of us can see, hear, and speak, and look, this is magical. Now, let's move forward. This is a chorus, right? So now, once again, need your support to welcome my second guest. Again, he has spent 30 plus in Microsoft. He heads Microsoft India Development Center, MD for Microsoft Development Center. Please put them together and welcome Rajiv Kumar. Rajiv, come on over. Rajiv, welcome. Perfect. You guys like the music?
Loved it.
Yeah,
How
awesome.
did you create it?
My co-pilot.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's get started. Now, quickly, by the way, so much is happening. We saw some super cool demos in Satya's keynote as well. Yeah. What inspires you the most when it comes to the current innovation? Charles, let's go with you first.
Great. You already dated me. Started in the company in the early 90s. I've seen 3 of those big paradigm shifts that Satya also talked about. And the latest one, the AI paradigm shift, is just mind-blowing. And to me, I think what's exciting is the rate of diffusion.
Right.
If you just go back and think about the fact that these AI models are now transforming lives of rural Indian farmers and children learning in Indian schools, I think Tuition Anna, we just talked about Tuition Anna and Selvam.ai. It's just mind-blowing the rate of diffusion of this tech. And I've been through multiple of these paradigm shifts in my career, 3 of them precisely, and the 4th one is ongoing. And I really am just amazed at both the pace of innovation. And the other part that's super exciting for me, Sandeep, is the fact that we're in India, all of us. And India's not just, is in many ways, there's really no rate of, there's no delay or impedance mismatch between how India's adopted AI. And so India's actually helping scale AI. And so to me, that really is another pretty fascinating story, and all of you are part of that magic. So I'm super excited to be here and be part of this massive paradigm shift that Microsoft's leading for the world.
Awesome. Rajiv, your point of view?
Well, I think, can you hear me? Okay. I'm today, I think, as excited about the new platform that you heard about as I was 30 years back when I joined Microsoft. When I joined Microsoft, I built the Visual Basic Compiler, and now I build co-pilots. And the journey has been just, the excitement is absolutely the same. So, looking good.
Perfect, awesome. So, Rajiv, we'll move to the first theme, which is basically Rajiv and Charu, the power of the current breed of innovation, right? I thought I'll bring in a very short demo, and then we'll pick your brains on how as developers we prepare for that particular stream of innovation, yeah? So, this is a little experiment. I did this over the weekend. You can switch to my slides. By the way, I'm using ChatGPT Plus here, right? How many of you have ChatGPT Plus access here? Just checking. A few of you. That means you can try it out yourself. I said earlier, this innovation can see, hear, and speak. I wanted to experiment, and here my question to the model is, I want to change a bulb, please help me. I'm showing this particular visual here. In a few seconds, it's going to come back and assess the situation, and it'll basically tell me that, you know what, you basically have to do counterclockwise to open this particular lampshade. That's what I highlighted right there, and I do that. And I say, you know what, counterclockwise worked. Now tell me what next. I need to basically put this bulb. And of course, I didn't upload what I see after I remove the particular lampshade. Now it says, please share me what's inside. I'm going to share the socket visual here. And as you see there, this innovation is able to see things and tells me that, you know what, it's basically a standard screw-based helps here, right? And I need to know that. Yeah. Okay, now I have 2 bulbs. Which one should I basically put here, right? interestingly, right, it's a, by the way, one conversation here, I didn't even do anything else. It tells me one on the right. Isn't that cool? Yeah, this is the power of magic, so, right? So, yeah, hats off to people who build this, right? Now, with this context, right, so now, Charud, question to you, developers here, when it comes to building applications, always been API-first approach. We're shifting towards AI-first approach.
Right.
So, do you think it's time for our developers to reimagine how you build application with AI infusion?
Absolutely. And I think an AI-first application is something where you don't think of AI as an afterthought. You build it into the core of your application. And the way you do that is you really start thinking about certain things from a very fundamental perspective.
Right.
And I think Satya did amazing justice to this topic in the keynote. And the entire kind of tool set that the developers use is going to have to fundamentally shift. And if there's one takeaway I'd like you folks to walk back with is that really go back and think about your data and information architecture, because that is, at the end of the day, the currency on which the AI operates. So Satya talked about the One Lake, the Microsoft Fabric One Lake, really thinking about how do you bring unstructured data, structured data, and you bring real-time data into like a One Lake type architecture, so then you kind of build models. And how many of the folks in the audience are developers? Hands, if you can raise your hands. What about data scientists? Yeah, I definitely see that. So interestingly, this world is going to massively shift the way developers think about their jobs. We heard about the massive productivity increases. In one study, we found out that with AI pair programming, you were nearly 55% faster to kind of spit out a JScript kind of application.
Right.
So Sandeep, I really think at the core of this is that productivity gain, right? For developers, it would be about completing code, about unit testing, automation, and we're seeing massive shifts at Microsoft. My own team is beginning to adopt this at a pretty rapid scale, and we're seeing that massive productivity gain. But for the data scientists out there, the models that you create, the way you're able to build those models and test those models and kind of put them out there, I really think there are massive, again, platform capabilities. So the Azure AI Studio, as an example, you can, there's models as a service. So this, I think, really rich capabilities in the underlying platform. And when I reflect on like how we used to do work in the API-first world versus how you're going to write code in the AI-first world, I think there is a reinvention. And I would say developers and data scientists, I think, leveraging both your strengths, right? I think hands, if you can raise your hands. What about data scientists? Yeah, I definitely see that. So interestingly, this world is going to massively shift the way developers think about their jobs. We heard about the massive productivity increases. In one study, we found out that with AI pair programming, you were nearly 55% faster to kind of spit out a JScript kind of application.
Right.
So Sandeep, I really think at the core of this is that productivity gain, right? For developers, it would be about completing code, about unit testing, automation, and we're seeing massive shifts at Microsoft. My own team is beginning to adopt this at a pretty rapid scale, and we're seeing that massive productivity gain. But for the data scientists out there, the models that you create, the way you're able to build those models and test those models and kind of put them out there, I really think there are massive, again, platform capabilities. So the Azure AI Studio, as an example, you can, there's models as a service. So this, I think, really rich capabilities in the underlying platform. And when I reflect on like how we used to do work in the API-first world versus how you're going to write code in the AI-first world, I think there is a reinvention. And I would say developers and data scientists, I think, leveraging both your strengths, right? I think it's really going to be the nexus of these two communities coming together to create these very intelligent applications. So I really want to talk about that. And Microsoft has led this AI innovation with a lot of responsibility and creating a lot of trust with our customers. So deeply thinking about your AI models, thinking about responsible AI principles.
Right.
How do you build inclusion, fairness, privacy, trust, and thinking about all this in a very fundamental way. So it's not an afterthought. An AI-first application cannot be built as an afterthought. It has to be built into the core of how developers build their applications. So
wonderful
there you go.
thought, Charu. In
Thanks.
fact, for security, we always said shift left. I think it should happen for AI also going forward. Rajiv, coming to you, we're literally swimming in this world of LLMs right now.
Yeah, exactly.
SLMs, LLMs, and you know what's going to come in the future. In fact, Satya had a wonderful slide where you had all the models, including 5.2, which is the latest one, right? Do you think for developers to succeed in the current times, there's a need for a unified platform? I think that's central. So you're talking.
Yeah, look, I'll start by saying, look, last year was the year of AI. This is the year where applied AI is going to go at scale. And at that scale, you are at the center of that scale that needs to happen across the world. Now, the question is, how do you build those? Copilot is the best way to approach building an AI application. Now, what does it take? It is a massive stack that Microsoft has enabled you, right from infrastructure layer to the models to the app layer. Let me just give you a little bit detail. What does it take as you build this application? Because those are the elements that will help you build the best AI application. At the bottom is the infrastructure layer. Satya talked about, we really have sourced the best GPUs, the most GPUs from NVIDIA, AMD. We build our own GPU, Maya. That is the infrastructure. Microsoft has the world's largest AI training and inferencing platform, actually. So that's the beginning. Then on top is the models. These models, like, of course, the OpenAI model. Then is Mistral, all of the Hugging Face model, Llama, you name it. We bring it to you as a model, as a service. So when you build your application, if you want to change the model for cost reason or performance reason, from client to the service or to the server, you can change it without changing the code. That's the second layer. The third layer is basically the tool chain that you use. Microsoft has built the tool chain right from GitHub Copilot, that was demoed. Then we have the Copilot Studio, Azure AI Studio. You have all the tools to build from low code to no code and build the AI applications. But then on top, you have to leverage the data. And we have the infrastructure and the OS, which is for doing RAG, for example, vector search, right? So that is there. But on top of that is the data that you bring. That data is your data. But you have to actually, what we provide is first of all, data, we provide RAI. We provide you with security, compliance, privacy, all those things, all built on this compute, which is the confidential compute. So that right from the compute to your data is ensured that it is within your control, within your premises, right? Perfect. Your data is your data. We don't use it. We don't let anybody else use your data. And that is very important. So that, I think, is the stack that you can use to build world's best AI on Azure.
Perfect.
So I'll stop there.
This is a very interesting initiative launched in India and Asia to really help us bring more diversity and inclusion into our communities. So Code Without Barriers, for instance, addresses nearly 75,000 female developers in these communities across 50+ open source communities, 30+ women in tech communities. Right. So we're very happy with that, and I think a lot of skilling, reskilling to your point, right? I think we're very excited about that.
Wonderful. Rajiv, tool is a .NET moment, right? So your thoughts on that?
I know we are running out of time, but I'll tell you as a developer, I'll get to the chase of it. The way you write code is going to be different. The way you approach is going to be different. It's no longer a linear set of code that you write. Because remember what Satya talked about. This new platform has two most incredible things. One is the way you interact. Is all natural language. It's about voice, text, video, image. The second is the reasoning engine. So it's not about writing code to get something out, but really you have to figure out a way to prompt this computer, which is the reasoning engine, to get the right response to solve your problem. So the way you approach is going to change. I feel the two things that are going to be true is, one, every existing application has to be reimagined on this new platform. Anything you're doing, are you using AI? You should ask that. Right. Second, new application will get built on this platform that was not at all possible ever before. Yes. Okay, now, in the end, because you're a developer, many people worry about, will AI take your job? Let me tell you the answer to that.
No, they're the pilot.
Developers who use AI are going to replace developers who don't use the power of AI. Yes. That's your message.
Awesome. Awesome. Rajiv, Charu, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Give it up once again for Rajiv and Charu, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank
please.
You. Thank you.
Awesome.
Best wishes.
Perfect. So with that, we will basically disperse from here. But before you do that, quickly, are you pumped up again in terms of Learning is primary. All of you here for learning. If I were you, I would do this, right? There is a connection hub outside. Spend some time there, understand solutions people have built, how can technology make a difference in society, and of course, choose your breakout slots, right? End of the day, you've basically chosen a stream to walk path in terms of, you know what, I love AI, but I love this part of AI, so let me choose specific streams. So I would urge each of you to look at the agenda once again, look at what sessions interest most, and spend time there, right? I think by end of the day today, I can assure you that each one of you will walk with immense knowledge, right? As Microsoft, I've seen these events happen year on year, but this time I can tell you, with AI, we have some of the best speakers who are there in this venue. Their intent is to educate all of us, yeah? With that, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and have fun programming, have fun coding. Bye-bye.
Please enjoy your coffee break at the poolside.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the Imagine Cup Finals 23 for India. It is such a privilege to have all of you with us today here. Hearty congratulations to every team which has participated in Imagine Cup. We hope that it has been a journey of learning and collaboration. And to bring in a context of this journey in India, we had over 11,000 students who registered. 17,000 plus students attended in-person and online boot camps across 15 states. And representing 145 institutions, we had over 220 teams that submitted their projects. And as you can see, they went through various rounds. And today, we'll be selecting top 2 teams amongst the 4 teams that have made it to the final round. And we would like to welcome a very distinguished panel of judges for the IC round today. Each of them is an outstanding leader and entrepreneur, contributing to the empowerment of individuals and institutions. We have on the panel Sairi Chahal, founder of Shiroz, Shashank Kumar, Managing Director and Co-founder Razorpay, and Anand Maheshwari, CVP and President, Microsoft India. And I would like to take a moment to introduce all the judges. Sairi Chahal is the founder and CEO of Shiroz, a community platform for women, and she has created a positive footprint for millions of women and empowering them. An Aspen Leadership Fellow, a Braddock Scholar. She's been recognized for her achievements globally and won several awards and serves on several boards such as Paytm Payments. A very warm welcome, Sairi.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome Shashank, who is the MD and founder of Razorpay and created this venture to simplify digital payments and has evolved as one of the largest full-stack fintech companies in India. Razorpay has powered digital payments for over 10 million businesses, including the likes of Airtel, Zomato, Swiggy, among others, and he's a recipient of multiple global awards. A very warm welcome, Shashank. And to introduce Anand Maheshwari, who is the president of Microsoft India, is a phenomenal and illustrious leader and has made enormous contributions towards digital transformation, impacting millions of lives and hundreds of institutions through his leadership. He's responsible for Microsoft's overall business and presence in India, leading engagement with multiple stakeholders. Anand is the vice chairperson of NASSCOM, a fellow of Aspen Leadership Institute, and serves on the India Advisory Committee of US IBC. A very warm welcome, Anand, to the panel. And before we move ahead, I would request each of the judges to share their thoughts for about a minute with these young, bright innovators who have made it to the finals. So just a minute, but would request to speak. And let's go with Sairi first.
Thank you so much. I'm actually a big fan of Imagine Cup. I have followed the journey of Imagine Cup for many years now, and I've had the privilege of being in the room, in the offline setting as well. And I think a little bit of when I look at the journey of the cup and a little bit of my own entrepreneurial journey, we're super privileged. We're super excited. We're probably living in the best time in history of technology, and I was looking at some of the solutions and just filled me with a lot of pride and hope to see, just to see the courage and hustle behind tackling hard challenges. So hopeful, excited, and I'm just very honored to be here at this point in time.
Thank you. Thank you, Sairi, so much for inspiring us. May I request Shashank now to just share his thoughts for a minute?
Hey, hi everyone, and thanks for having me here. I think many folks may not know, I think I graduated in 2012, so I was actually around when Imagine Cup started and was used to invite a lot of participants in the country from across the colleges, which is still the case today, right? So and back in 2011-12 as well, a lot of my friends actually participated in Imagine Cup when I was in college, and the innovation that it spurs right in students across the country, I think is phenomenal. It gives a great platform, great stage, and I've seen that there are a lot of competitions that happen around, let's say, around coding, around security, and those kind of things, but very few competitions will actually work on building innovative applications for the world, and the scale and the ambition that Imagine Cup inspires in students is it's frankly amazing, and also the fact that the winner from here gets the stage to go on to onto the World Championship and compete there, and also have a shot at getting personal mentorship from Satya Nadella. I think all of those things are really amazing, but it doesn't matter who eventually wins the contest. I think just the fact that everyone gets to participate and gets a chance, right, to exercise their creative spirit, entrepreneurship spirit, and also build an amazing solution. I think that's what it should be all about. And I'm really glad to be here to evaluate solutions at the final stage. And yeah, I wish all the best to all the participants.
Thank you, Shashank, for inspiring words. And over to you, Anand, for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Vinny. And I echo everything that Sairi and Shashank spoke. Absolutely thrilled to be here. This is one of those parts of my role where I get to witness the Imagine Cup's journey from the sidelines and get this opportunity to meet up with the finalists. So my privilege to be here. I'll start with a huge congratulations to every one of you who are here, as in coming from the number of applications that Vinny just mentioned. You already achieved so much in coming here. My only request to you is stay passionate about your idea and keep driving forward. And of course, if you get the opportunity to go forward the way Shashank mentioned, that'll accelerate. But that's not the only one. All four of you teams should accelerate. Finally, why am I here? I'm here to get inspired by you. And I'm not saying this just because I'm speaking to you. Just a little while back, literally 30 minutes back, I was doing Q&A with 100+ leaders at Microsoft. And they asked me the question, hey, listen, what should we do at this point in time with ChatGPT and everything around us? AI is changing the world. So what should we do? And I told them, hey, listen, go listen to the people who are now starting their lives and taking all of this technology and doing wonders with it. I didn't connect the dots. I should have just told them, come along with me and look at the Imagine Cup winners and you'll get inspired. So here I am getting inspired by you. Back to you, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome. And we have a great panel and great projects that'll get showcased. So before we start, I would just like to share that we'll have these 4 teams presenting. Each team will present for 3 minutes, followed by 7 minutes of Q&A. And then the judges will get about 3 minutes to put in the scores. At 6.5 minutes, a buzzer will be played that indicates that 30 minutes are left for wrapping up the Q&A session. And the links to score the sheets have already been shared with the panel of judges. So we start our day with the very first presentation from the team Biome 22. So over to the team Biome for presentation. And wish you all the very best.
Greetings. I'm Devan Sharma representing my team BAM 22 from Dronacharya College of Engineering. Every once in a while there comes an innovation, a product that revolutionizes the way of the world. It changes how we function in our day-to-day life. It seamlessly integrates into our daily life. It's no secret that the agriculture industry is facing major challenges. We are in dire need of a solution that not only tackles this problem, but also does in a sustainable manner. It's about time we introduce Biome. Biome works on the principle of hydroponics, which is when we grow our plants or crops in water instead of soil. Hydroponics has lots of benefits over traditional agriculture, but there are even more problems associated with it. Hydroponics is very sensitive to the environmental parameters. Even the slightest of alteration of even one of these parameters can result in the plant's death. We have solved this problem with our project Biome. The sensors in the hardware continuously monitor and control all of these parameters. Using Azure's IoT Hub, the system's real-time statistics are displayed on both the attached OLED and the companion application. Additional manual control switches are also available in the application. What does Biome do? Biome allows you to grow your plants or crops without any human intervention. After installation, once the sapling is planted, you can leave the system as it is for up to 25 days. Biome will take care of any and all necessities of the plant. These are Biome's unique selling points. As it utilizes hydroponic, it does not require any soil. It saves up to about 90% of water, providing twice the growth rate. Our solution supports vertical agriculture, which makes it ideal for urban farms and increases the yield to about 5 times. Since this is done in an indoor and soil-less manner, no insect attacks are observed and thereby no pesticide is used, which altogether generates completely organic and exotic crops in a sustainable manner. To operate Biome, no prior farming or technical experience is required. It can be operated by anyone intuitively. Individuals with disabilities can begin their entrepreneurial journey through organic crop production from the comfort of their home. The business model currently offers two variants: the window side model, which on average costs around 12,000 rupees, and the agricultural model, the cost of which may depend upon its scale. The PCB design has been completed, upon integration of which Biome will be launched in August of 2023. The hydroponic market is estimated to grow significantly, primarily due to three reasons: soil degradation, continuously growing population, and awareness about the benefits of organic yields. We have held key positions in 5 hackathons, where the prototype has received positive responses from various judges, entrepreneurs, and subject matter experts. Our vision for Biome is to enable one-step agriculture, through which we will be able to bring farms back to people. This was Team Biome 22. Thank you.
A wonderful idea, and clearly, I think a lot of applicability, not just in India, but rest of the world as well. Have you done any commercial testing? Like, have you taken it to any users? Did you speak to anybody who's used your product?
Yes, ma'am. We have participated over time. We have participated in over 5 hackathons, out of which we have generated a list of 56 people who have agreed to test the pilot model on the cost of 12,400 rupees. And it's the live prototype has been presented to many judges, many subject matter experts, and we've also added some reviews.
All right, thank you.
Really interesting idea. I think it's definitely a very challenging problem. Quick question, like what kind of plants are you testing in this?
So Biome is able to grow many types of crops, but primarily we are using this crops because it offers twice the growth rate. For the same amount of land, you can generate 5 times the yield while continuously saving 90% of water with twice the growth rate. And coriander grown in a soil-based manner will take you about 62 days. But with Biome, it will take around 33 days.
So let me build a little bit on what Sairi and Shashank asked, and we'll maybe go back to some more questions from them. But you've definitely laid out some opportunities with Biome. What are the risks if you take a total cost analysis and the total factor productivity analysis of farming? Because farming is not just about the efficiency of the growth of a plant. It's a lot of things. How do you bring that together so that when you're talking to somebody, you're looking at all the different factors?
So if I compare this to a traditional agriculture, the cost of traditional agriculture is significantly higher. Even if the farmer doesn't own his land, if he chooses to rent everything out, every equipment, every fertilizer, everything out, still the cost of Biome will be significantly lesser, because the land requirement lessens significantly. You won't be require any significant amount of herbicide, pesticide, because this will be grown in indoor manner. And if I compare this to the average cost of what regular farms use, regular farms are quite dependent upon the weather patterns. Any significant changes in weather patterns can lead our crops to die. For you to rent a tractor, it costs around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees, and for you to rent a bull, it will require around 1,400 rupees. And if someone chooses to go to a semi-automated hydroponic system, which is sold in US, it costs around 2,40,000 rupees, which we will provide for 12,000 rupees.
Thanks for the answer. I would just say, I think you're laying out all the elements of the total cost or factor productivity, but it's important to actually write that up and get it verified to the question that Sairi asked earlier with real life examples and many of them as you go along.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think my follow-up question was on same lines. Look, I think it's a great solution. I mean, my plants die all the time, and I've not even grown coriander in my little kitchen patch. So I would love to see if I can leave my plants to a little machine, and there is something to show for it. But also a little bit of personification of your user, like who's willing to pay what. So we saw the retail price of 12,000, and then you're talking about large farms. And both are different customers, right? One is a hobby customer and one is a livelihood customer. And how do we, who do we go to first, and what does that mean on our plans to go to market? And I personally would sort of recommend that you definitely test this out with real customers outside of the hackathons as well, like literally neighbors, friends, people on the street, to see whether it excites them.
Okay, so I think this is a two-parter question where we have to first introduce how actually this is going to scale. Second, the go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
So as for scaling, we have divided the scaling to three things. Firstly, it's the ease of use. But it is a one-step agriculture where you are not going to require any previous experience either in farming or technical. All you really need to do is understand emojis, which will be communicated on two screens. Firstly, the mobile application. Second, the OLED attached to the Biome. Second, the ease of scaling. You can scale it into either direction, X direction, Y direction, or you can generate a fully functional agriculture model within your own bedroom. And the third is impact. You will be able to grow continuously organic yields without much efforts put into this. And you will be able to redefine your local supply chain, where the earlier, if coriander was getting exported from Madhya Pradesh to Delhi, now you can grow it locally and you can redefine your local food supply chain. Significant reduction in carbon miles, and it will provide an entrepreneurial journey to many people. As for our go-to-market strategy, we will launch after PCB integration, which has already been designed. We will launch the Biome in August of 2023 after testing it with our 56 people that I've mentioned earlier. And from there, it will go to farmers, agriculture industries, and organic food enthusiasts. Our primarily will go to existing hydroponic farms, and we will automate them, from where the user experience data will be collected, and then we will provide a product and service. Product is Biome, service will be to automate any hydroponic farms.
Got it. Thank you.
And I had a quick question. I think you mentioned there was something nagging me on cost. You mentioned like it's a cheaper solution with higher yield, right? Usually if a newer technology is cheaper and better, like it sees like a sort of a hyper growth. As far as I'm aware of, like alternative, agriculture market, like it's still growing at something like 20-30%, 40% year on year, not like at a 2x 3x kind of thing. So I would say, like, double check on the cost bit. I don't know, like, something seems off there.
I think we are at time now, and we will take a pause and then we'll give the time to judges to put in the scores. Thank you so much. The next team that will present is E-Drishti from the education track.
eDrishti, a software embedded system that makes STEM education accessible to visually impaired people. You might wonder why this topic and how we landed on this solution. Recent searches reveal that there are 5% literate visually impaired people across the globe, out of which only 1% reside in India. According to a recent article by Indian Express and Bogan magazine, government schools in India provide insufficient study materials in Braille up to the 8th standard without any tactile training. That is why most students take up arts and humanities and do not branch out to other professional streams. The failure to provide access creates barrier to education and employment and even undermines an individual's capability. To highlight the cause, recently, two visually challenged students, Kritika Purohit and Reshma Dilip, filed a case in Bombay High Court and Kerala High Court to be allowed to study science beyond secondary school. So, what do we intend to solve? Market statistics say that there are not enough well-learned blind tutors to teach science to visually impaired people. Second, with advancing education, all the traditional teaching concepts in Braille become more and more intimidating, as one cannot visualize and learn complex science concepts using Braille. Here's what we do. Team eDrishti presents before you a software embedded system that helps visually impaired people study maths, science, and geometrical concepts. The method comprises a hardware device connected to a mobile application. Let's see the demonstration. Here, we have demonstrated sine graph, distance, and displacement concepts of physics.
Let's see how we can understand a sine graph. Minimum value is minus 1.0. Maximum value is 1.0. Line 1. Now, these are the maximum steps taken by the man to reach his destination. The longest path so traveled by the man from the start position to the final position is called distance. Now check the simplest route from the start to the final by touching the raised buttons on the hardware. Yes, the path is along the diagonal. Hence, the displacement is the shortest path from the initial to the final position.
To accomplish this, Team eDrishti has used Flutter, Firebase, and majorly Azure services on the software end, namely Azure's notification service, CI/CD pipeline, and Cosmos database. We even have a competitive business plan which facilitates affordable education for blind people. We not only cover a huge proportion of the market of about 2.2 billion, but also an Indian market of 14 million. Our target market includes the entire visually challenged community, irrespective of age, gender, and type of visual disability. Supporting the noble cause, our project is backed by Agastya International Foundation as our NGO partner, Shri Sai Netrahin Seva Sanstha as a potential customer, and WhatsApp as a potential investor. To this, I would like to highlight that the project recently got patented. Hence, eDrishti not only helps in STEM education, but also contributes to the increasing literacy and employment rate of visually impaired people. Let's have a look at what the users have to say about our project. That was all about our project. Thank you.
Very warm good afternoon from eDrishti to all the judges out here.
Quick question, like, is the product live and have you tested it in the market?
Yes, I would ask my team member to show the validation of the product. We actually went to a blind association and we got our project tested from there and we got a very great review. As you can see, the testimonial we actually presented right here. We got our idea validated.
चीज आपने बनाया ना, तो उससे एक एजुकेशन सबसे बड़ी चीज है। एजुकेशन के साथ में वो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से अपने आप को जोड़ सकते हैं कि 4 का फिगर कैसा होता है, 7 का फिगर कैसा होता है, ए लेटर कैसा होता है, वो चीज उनके माइंड में ना एक मेंटली मैप कि 8 7 4 2 8 कैसा होता है, वो मेंटली मैप जो है ना उनके दिमाग में वो फिगर आप समझा रहे हो।
So yes, that is what it is, and we validated our ideation. And yeah, to add on to this, the association we visited, they just gave us the agreement to just supply 14 devices to them to start with the initial education of visually impaired people. And yes, when we are ready with our final product, which we are working on, like the very portable one, so it is easy to carry. And that product we will be launching in our market, launching in the market very soon. I would say, you can say pretty I guess after 2 months or so. Yeah.
Very cool. Uh, so, how are you guys making the product, and what does it cost you to make it? What are the components of making it?
That's a very great question, ma'am. First of all, I would like to just again ask, like, you meant the technology used, or?
Yeah, both. Like, it's a device, right? So
Yeah, it's a device.
it's already manufactured.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'm the software person. I have built the application and I have used Flutter, Firebase, as well as Azure, CI/CD pipeline and notification service, as well as database, Cosmos database. And Hive database is also being integrated with the Azure database. And when it comes to the hardware, I would shift on to my team member to describe the hardware components.
Good afternoon, ma'am. The parts that we have used in our hardware is Arduino, solenoid door locks, and Bluetooth device, keypads, and various more devices. The initial phase, we are purchasing it from the market, and at the mass production, or let's talk about producing 10 units, we will just try to set up our own making factories, like manufacturing units, like creating solenoids, creating our own ARM microcontroller board, and very sorts of things, so that we can provide our hardware in very cheap rate.
Yes.
At cost, buying from the market is quite expensive. So we are trying to make it by our own, so that we can ship them and we can deliver them in a very cheap rate.
Thank you.
So if I just build on the questions, and clearly this is serving a need, but at least it felt to me that this need has been served before by other capabilities, tools, products, and books. As you mentioned, Braille books are available to teach many of these capabilities. The unique thing that I found, at least I felt that you were speaking to, is the fact that this is cheaper than what exists. So there was a cost element differential. That was the unique proposition of this. At the same time, I don't know whether it is as comprehensive and scalable as some of the other tools that exist in the space already. So it could be cheaper, but do far less compared to something that may be more expensive, but is able to do a lot more.
So I would take that question. That's a very great question, first of all, I would like to say. But whatever we researched till now, till date, no other product exists in the market, and we have verified this, and we have blind tutors associated with us who are creating this entire curriculum and giving their best to just make education accessible for all. If I come on to your point, so there is no such organization, no government school providing STEM education to visually impaired students or people after 8th standard. And till 8th standard as well, the education is not of that quality, the quality we study. And they're not able to deduce all the geometrical and tactile meanings. So we are providing this, as I mentioned in our presentation as well, that two visually impaired students filed a case at Bombay High Court as well as Kerala High Court, because they are actually facing this issue. And when it comes to the products which are costlier, since there is no such competitor, there are indirect competitors. They are selling the product so costly, and still they are not meeting the requirements of teaching the STEM education. I hope I answered the question. Please let me know if
I did a quick search right now, and I
Yeah.
was looking for tactile pads
Yes.
that are available, and
Yes.
seeing what those effectively tablets can do, because they can bring in a lot more information, and they have a tactile interface, which is not
Yes.
as large as the interface that you have. It's a smaller interface, but with the
Yes.
click of the
Yes.
fingers, you can still get to achieve a lot. That's where I was asking the question. Hey, listen, seems like this is already there. The differentiation seems to be on cost structure.
Yes, the differentiation is in terms of cost structure, as well as I would like to highlight that we are controlling the entire hardware using the software. So we have that power, as well as I would like to add over here, as you saw in the demonstration itself, that entire application is voice controlled. So there's no need of having any interpreter. When I speak of the tactile board you told just now, we need an interpreter for the same, and the cost of interpreter is so much huge. We interacted with the blind people there, and they just let it out that yes, the cost is so huge, we are not able to afford an interpreter. And that's the basic thing, that why these you can say devices aren't being used by them. They do accept that yes, devices exist in the market, but the point is that it is not accessible to them. Either they are too costly, either they need an interpreter, which again counts down to the cost factor. And braille books, you can say 30 to 40% costlier. Braille books are just 30 to 40% costlier than the normal books. So that's what we are helping. Like, we have a great pressing issue which we need to solve, and the market demands that. Thank you.
So how will course material get developed for this device?
Course material, we have tied up, as we have a partner, Shri Sai Netrahin Seva Sanstha. It is an NGO. We have a group of blind tutors out there, and currently they are helping us to develop all the course materials. I can list down an example, which we just, a blind tutor there explained us. For instance, we need to explain concept of rotation. Now, what would happen is that that particular circle would rise up on the hardware. The pins would rise, and it would ask the blind people to lay the finger on the figure so raised up, and just move your finger around the figure traced. So that's actually called the concept of rotation for visually impaired people. So this was a, you can say, mere example of how we can explain all the science and mathematics and chemistry concepts. So yeah.
Thank you.
So now we invite the third team, which is Vision Neo, and this is the lifestyle track.
This is Karthik from Team Visinon. We are presenting here our device Netram, your digital eye. Let me walk you through the journey of our device. One fine day, while I was traveling in Delhi Metro, I encountered a blind lady. Then we had a good conversation on the solution. The solution is not always a stick. It feels awkward and makes them feel like they are not the part of the society. Later, I surveyed and came across the economic impact of $887 billion that is happening unconsciously, because the technology is not channelized in the right manner. If self-driving cars are possible, then why not Netram? If timeline of driverless car is 2025, then what about it? This is the right time to think about it. Netram, your digital eye. This is how easy to place components on different caps with different colors. Let me brief you about the modules and the material, like 180-degree camera view, SOS LED transceiver modules, PVDF coating to absorb electromagnetic radiation, haptic feedback. Up to 70% of material is biodegradable. This is the working architecture of Netram, how it is connected with Azure. Now, talking about how to use it. Switch it on, connect to the app. Enter the current location and destination through audio. The haptic feedback will guide the user along the pathway and help preventing any unpleasant occurrence. How we are going to expand? By direct sale, tie up with NGOs so that it can be provided to those who can't afford it. Different models with different cost. Tie up with fashion brands to sell and give trials to the user. Government aid so that it can be available to all. Tech tie-up with an app like Seeing AI. What makes us different? Like saving of route, voice control application, color detection, live stream, text to speech, and the cost of our product is $45 to $50. Then we have pre-reviewed it by the principal of Blind School, Bikaner, Rajasthan, and reviewed it by the Chief Secretary of National Association of Blind, Faridabad, Haryana, where we got some positive feedback and some drawback that we have worked upon it.
आप जैसे ही अगर पर्सन पे टैप करोगे ये लैपटॉप से क्लिक कर लेगा ये वो परसेंटेज बता जैसे 1% हम तीनों खड़े हो जाएंगे तो तीनों को डिटेक्ट करेगा आपको कोई इमरजेंसी हो रही है तो आप जैसे कैप में इस तरफ जैसे टैप करोगे तो यहाँ एलईडी लाइट्स है वो जैसे आप आ जाओगे आप यहाँ पर ऊपर ये इस जगह जैसे कि आप
वॉल्यूम रॉकर।
तो थैंक यू सर, मतलब आपने इस लाइन को है ना बिल्कुल सार्थक कर दिया कि हम सशक्त हैं, हमें दुलार चाहिए और बस हमको थोड़ा सा प्यार चाहिए, है ना। तो बहुत अच्छा लगा आप लोगों का इन्वेंशन देख के।
थैंक यू मैम। Good afternoon, sir, and judges.
Really good work. Fascinating. Could you share a little bit about the process of building the device, like the scanner? What components do you like? What goes into it? We saw that there's an OCR and a sensor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like we have used camera modules, like we can say using Raspberry Pi camera modules and all that. That is placed in front, and it's having a networking system that it will connect it to the cloud services. And on the basis of like if something goes wrong, if internet is not there, then some of the processing will be done on the module, depending on the data, like that is present on that.
Got
Like
it.
we have.
Got it. And how are you pricing this?
Ma'am, like pricing, we have thought about like 4,000 to 500 in Indian rupees and $45 to $55 according to that models. Like we have wide range of users, not only blinds, but the old age that can use it, and for those who are suffering from amnesia, like those who forget the things and all that. So according to the user base, we can change the cost.
Just want to understand, like, are there other products in the market which help the blinds more from a navigation perspective? And more like kind of thing. How does it differ?
Yes, sir. There are some of the models, like we have gone through the like Orcam, VWalk and all that products. Like we have surveyed in NAB Arkepuram in Delhi, and we have shown lots of 40 to 50 devices that are just on that table, not in the market. The concern of the blinds and that we came across that make them cost effective and liable. Like we can try it and we can use it and make it cost effective and like easy to use, like a stick. Like stick is from very long time, but they want that something that can change the perspective of the society. Like you are not only dependent on stick, we have technology with us also. Like for if a blind says like that, so he gives me a view about him, like a student of 25 year age. So he said me that.
Okay. Did you guys explore any other format other than caps? Like why zero down on the cap itself?
Yes, sir. We have like, if I can show you, we have a band also, like that we are working on design perspective to enhance more. Like if someone don't feel to wear cap, so it's a point that we had worked upon it.
And so we can also accommodate it in different types of clothing. We can use it for fashion purposes, like we can incorporate it in jewelry, waistbands and all. So as of now, we have just prepared it on cap. But in the future installments, we are thinking of that.
So I saw your presentation, the proposal. You had some comparisons with a couple of other devices that exist, and those definitely, again, was searching for them and trying to figure out a little bit about them. Did you think about what it takes to change the habits and existing learning of somebody who's blind if they've grown up on, let's say, a stick for most of their life, and now it's become a smart stick, which has already helped them, giving in assisted signals, also connected through Bluetooth and apps, these sticks which actually guide you to navigate a little bit. And there are now applications which you can speak to. So it's speech to text, text to speech, which provides a lot of the guidance as you go ahead. So existing technology, a GPS existing in a mobile phone, a camera existing in a mobile phone, which is already in their hands, and therefore doesn't add one more equipment that they need to manage around. So did you think through that process as to why not make something that's already there smarter and therefore not have another additional item?
Yeah. So we had surveyed and we had talked with the blinds and also in the school also that we have gone through in Bikaner, that they have said, yeah, apps are there and stuff are there, but the user friendliness. And if let's say you are in a Delhi metro, a crowded metro, and you are taking out of your phone as a blind and doing this, and someone just picks your phone, and if this thing goes wrong, then it's a huge trouble for him. Uh, it's a point, but they had said we need some basic training and it will be helpful for us. And as we are focusing more on like 18 to 25-year age group, as it's a fashionable type of thing, so they are happy. They are saying, yeah, the applications are there, and we also looking for tying up with these types of application so that we can get more data and more liable. But they, according to the users that I have gone through, they are happy with the cap. They are not thinking that we have a phone, but they are like that we have a friend like Netram, your eye. So they are taking it as a friend that can guide them to the way. And sir, I want to add some little point here. Like we are looking, like last month, I have just gone through a Wall Street Journal post where Sir Satya Nadella has like said that we are soon getting the ChatGPT API on the Azure. So I think if we can use that and a blind can just talk with the our cap and make them happy, it will be good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I would like to add here a bit. Also, the electromagnetic radiations that are generated from electric devices are also a cause of concern. But in our cap, we have incorporated a smart material called polyvinylidene fluoride that absorbs these radiations, and thus it makes it safer to use in the longer run, and there will be no such cause of concern for the user. It will be very user friendly and safer to use.
Aren't all of us using mobiles today?
Mobiles are there, but as our point of research and that we have make it more user friendly and health consciousness, so we have done this.
Sure. Awesome. Thanks, Rob. This is a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Team Visioneer. It's a pleasure to invite Iksha, which is from the health track, and we can begin the presentation now.
Extra is a haptic engine that helps the visually impaired feel the 3D surrounding in real time, and a web app that helps them understand the environment. There are 2.2 billion people who are visually impaired according to WHO. Most of them are in India and depend on guide cane, which is very limited. Now you might wonder, there are already a number of products in the market that try to solve this problem. So why is this better? So it is a story that starts with my mother, who is an expert in teaching students with special needs. Because of her, I have made some friends who are visually impaired, and I asked this question to them: that hey, there are many products that help you with obstacle avoidance, so why don't you use them? After an extensive discussion and analysis, we got to two conclusions on why the current products fail. First is the cost of the products that most of the products are designed for the Western market, which makes them expensive for people in India. The second, which is also the biggest reason, is that current products use audio or vibration to convey depth information. These methods are fundamentally very less detailed and slow, that makes the products virtually useless in the real world. And also the exposure to extensive vibration haptics could result in permanent loss of sensitivity. So keeping these bottlenecks in mind, we designed and created the Iksha haptic engine, which has 4 linear haptic actuators, one for each finger, and 4 time-of-flight distance sensors. So the closer the obstacle is, further the actuators will press against the fingertips. So just by moving the wrist, you could not only feel the presence of obstacles, but know exactly how far they are. But knowing the presence of obstacles is not enough. So this is where the magic of Azure Cognitive Services comes in. Connect the device to Wi-Fi, start the web app, keep phone in the upper pocket with camera facing outwards. Through audio, you can hear the explanations of whatever's in front.
A man in a blue shirt.
We are testing continuously with visually impaired people to make sure it fits their needs and is affordable. So here you can see one of the students trying out Iksha. The cost of device will be around 45 USD for a product that is significantly cheaper and more affordable than the competition. To give simple analogy, using current products with just use audio or vibration is like looking at a blurred image. You can make out some colors, but that's about it. With Iksha and its 4 distance sensors with millimeter level accuracy and 4 high resolution haptic actuators, with each having 180 points of actuation length, it is like perceiving the world in HD for the users. Simply because the amount of depth information Iksha have delivers in real time is unmatched. The market of assistive technologies is expected to grow to 13 billion by 2030, and we plan to reach users by approaching NGOs and government institutions, and also to work with government and CSR budgets of companies to subsidize and make the product more affordable.
Okay, so much. We'd love to take any questions.
Super interesting. I know that you've taken a view of India, but do we have any sense of how big is this market globally? Like, uh, if if it's a challenge for, let's say, a country like India, does do the same set of rules apply to, let's say, another market, say Middle East or Southeast Asia?
So the market for that we showed, which is 13.1 billion expected, is particularly for the Western market only. In India, this market is virtually unexplored. So to give you an analogy, it's just like an iPhone before the first iPhone launched. So you can't actually predict the amount of the actual market that will be for the new iPhones. So it is like because those products didn't reach India or any developed economy. So currently they are the students or the people who are living in the developing economies. For example, most of the visually impaired people live in India, have, don't have access to any kind of technological devices that help with the haptics, which is very good and natural to them, and navigate the surroundings. So 13.1 billion is for the Western market, and Indian market is virtually unexplored. So there is a lot of opportunity for.
Can you share a little bit on the technology part, like how we are, how is the device working basically?
Sure. So for the actuator part, the haptic engine, there are 4 parts basically. First is the precision actuator that we have 3D printed and developed the design of, for example, micro complication using the servo motors with 180 points of precision actuation length. And you just strap on the device, and the 4 distance sensors that are placed in 120 degrees field of view measure the distance in real time. And basically they are instantaneous and with millisecond level time difference, and we are trying to get it even lower. So it is very real time, and it takes only 3 to 4 seconds once you move the device around in any setting to get understanding of exactly how far the obstacle is. And also, as we mentioned, we are also leveraging the power of Azure, which made our job very easier to make to allow the users understand what exactly is surrounding them. So knowing the where the obstacle is not enough for them, we found out during testing. So we leverage the power of Azure to make them understand what is in front of them actually.
If I may build on the questions, first of all, compliments to you on the mechanical side of your innovation, the electromechanical side, where you've gone in to understand depth of field and combine that with existing capabilities that exist in leveraging the visual analysis that already is available on many apps and many devices. To use GPS as well as cameras and also text to speech, speech to text. So all of that exists. That bit I would say is rebuilt or made again, but the mechanical side is interesting. I was future testing this combo for you, and given how fast the visual technologies are moving, especially camera technologies, and the analytics that are coming out of those camera technologies. I would find it a little remiss at this point in time to imagine that the next version of the 5G phones that are coming through will not have capabilities to do a lot of what you're doing with your mechanical side.
Yeah, so basically problem with those solutions that are based on cameras is the visual impaired person might not have idea of how good the lighting is around him or her. So basically, because we started off with the camera itself, we started detecting depth with camera, and we quickly found out during testing that it's very unsustainable method or ineffective method of detecting detecting changes in dynamic view situation. So that's why we moved on to onto the sensors, and we leveraged the cameras for the understanding of the environment part.
Got it. But are you thinking through a little bit of the pace of change that has happened in the camera technology, let's say in the last 2 years, and if this projected forward, will that give you a sense of what's coming?
Precisely. So, for example, LiDAR technology is already available in flagship smartphones, but those smartphones are not accessible. For example, they cost around at least $700 USD. So they are virtually inaccessible to most of the people who are visually impaired, who actually don't have a real world job at all. So it's very inaccessible, that particular technologies of advanced technologies of LiDARs or depth detection technologies that all are coming integrated in flagship smartphones. So we definitely need something cheaper to make them accessible, to make these technologies accessible.
Got it.
How are you looking to get this product into market, and what kind of validation you have done?
So the best way to go to market for us is from organization to organization, because we can't reach outreach to the users through traditional forms of visual advertising methods. So it's best in our situation to jump from organization to organization. Currently, we are in touch with one government and one private institutions, and also one all-girls school. So we've actually the head of the all-girls school actually wanted 150 devices. So that we will deliver in end of March. We plan to deliver it, all those devices to end of March, so that we can test it further in more extensive way.
I think building from what Anand said, a little bit about, let's say you do this and let's say you get to a certain amount of scale, you distribute, let's say, 100,000 devices. What next? Like, what are possible challenges and opportunities for somebody like you?
So the possible challenges is to sustain the business model after the user has bought the device. For example, we will try to do that through subscription as a service model for the Azure Cognitive Services part. So it will be actually very cheap. The estimated cost for the subscription would be 400 rupees per year. So I think that would sustain the business further after the initial purchase of the device. Just that's about it.
It's a great pleasure to welcome Sandeep Alur. He's the director, tech specialist, and manages the Microsoft Technology Center and creates outstanding innovations and case studies to inspire the audience on the use of tech in the real world. And he's an awesome leader, and we welcome him to Imagine Cup and finals event and request him to share insights on AI and the new innovations that are being made possible through the use of new technologies. Over to you, Sandeep, and a very warm welcome.
Awesome. Vinny, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be part of this afternoon. And I did, join a little early, and all the ideas coming in. And truly, kudos to each one of you. It's your efforts, it's your idea, and you're giving life to it. So congratulations and best wishes to each one of you. So what I'll do for the next, I would say 5-6 minutes, is to give you a peek into some of the latest innovations. Right, AI is the most spoken term. Right, I'll give you a bit of a glimpse into, I would say, artificial general intelligence, AGI we call it, right? Of course, all of you would have played with ChatGPT, but let's look at a little beyond that. Number two, I'll also give you a glimpse into the world of mixed reality. Okay. Now, in fact, let's start with mixed reality so that you get a sense of. I'm sure you would have played with augmented reality, virtual reality. we look at mixed realities. By the way, just so all of you understand, mixed reality is a classic, I would say, manifestation of physical world, virtual world coming together. That means you will see virtual objects in the physical world, and you will treat those virtual objects as good as any physical asset. Yeah. So in fact, I'm joined here by my colleague Vishnu, and he's our demo expert today. I'm going to share my screen, and what you should see in a few seconds is a visual that's basically projected from his HoloLens that he's wearing. Okay, and let me just do that in a second. Let me share my screen. You should see my desktop any second. And by the way, what you will see is, he's actually looking at me, and hence what you're seeing right now is the visual. Let me give you a use case here, right? Vishnu, Sheikh, just stay steady. Let me give you a use case here. Imagine you're in the architecture, engineering, construction business, and you basically looking at, hey, let's say it's an empty apartment, right? You basically are in the construction business. You want to basically do interiors. Now, here is a use case where imagine this room is empty. I want to look at how does modern, I would say, electrical equipments look in this room. Let's say fans, right? Now, Vishnu will turn around and look at, if you look at the ceiling, there's no fans in this room, by the way, right? There's no fans as he's seeing up. But I want to put a fan here. So we have a virtual, I would say, 3D asset, which is given by one of the electrical company. And I want to see how it looks. So I don't have to get a physical asset here. I can look at how the virtual one looks, but it's mixed reality. I'm seeing through my naked eye, not through the phone, by the way. Vishnu, why don't you just show us, the fan just a little above you there, right? As you look up, you will see a fan stuck to the ceiling, right? By the way, he can move it around. Vishnu wanted to move it. Move the fan to some other location, Vishnu. There are two fans here, but pick up the fan, Vishnu. Pick up the fan and just hold it and move, right? Right now he's moving the fan and just move to a different location. That's all, right? If I want to say, hey, how does this fan look in this part of my experience zone or a room or a living room? You can play with it, right? By the way, he's using hand gestures, just picking up an object like you pick up any physical object. I mean, this is a true power. By the way, we can get the fan towards me, Vishnu. Just get it towards me. Let's see. People should be able to see it. See, he's getting it towards me right now. I can see the fan right here, right? So if this is a quick glimpse into the world of mixed reality, by the way, I have one other example which I'll show you. But look, what he's doing right now is moving these objects and looking at, hey, how does this room look if the fan is here or there elsewhere, right? Architecture, engineering, construction, I would probably call it as a bigger umbrella called industrial metaverse. I think all of you in the call today, go and check out what is industrial metaverse. You'll understand a lot more about it. Okay, this is the first demo I want to showcase. And while Vishnu prepares for the second demo, let me just switch over and probably take you to the world of artificial intelligence, right? I'm sure you would have played with ChatGPT now. I'm not sure whether you've seen the new Bing, right? The new Bing is a classic, I would say, example of the ChatGPT experience, which conversation AI with recency of search, right? I'm with the new Bing. By the way, you never are going to search for links. When you search today, you're going to get 100 links, right? It's difficult to prioritize what you want. Now, let's look at conversation search, right? I'm basically posting questions saying, hey, I'm a student. I want to understand the latest in the world of technology. Can you share top 3 innovations that will shape the future? That's my question as a student. Imagine you ask this question to any search engine. You get back links, right? And then you have to navigate the link. But here I'm just going to ask this question to the new Bing, right? This is pure conversation, by the way, right? It is searching for information first, and eventually it's going to come back with very meaningful construction of a narrative. And that's your starting point to know what are those 3 areas that you want to research on. Rather than you looking at links and identifying, man, there are 2,500 innovations, which is the top 3 one, right? It's saying Wi-Fi 6 and 5G, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and robotic process automation. This is what is supposed to shape the future of the industry, right? Of course, if I say give me 5, it will give me 5. I asked for 3, by the way. It's only going to give me 3, right? So this one. Now, if you look at, right now, the ChatGPT Excel you would have played around with, it's truly a classic example of generative AI, right? That means it is natural language generation. It has the capability to generate content, and that will happen in a very conversation fashion because it understands natural language, right? I'll show an example for you guys. I don't know how many of you, by the way, played with DALL-E. DALL-E is another innovation from OpenAI, right? So let's look at this. I have another example here. I'm saying, this is DALL-E. You should just go and look up, Bing image creator, right? It's already there. If you just go and ask, if you basically give in your natural language description, anything you want to generate in natural language, it generates visual for you, right? I'm looking at here and typing in, hey, a group of students presenting their ideas to an elite panel of industry leaders. Let's see what comes up, right? I'm basically sending my request here, and I should get an image created from scratch, original image, never seen before image, right? So this is something which is a second innovation from OpenAI. Let's see what comes up, right? And by the way, you might be wondering, hey, how come it's giving us images of people who probably doesn't look like Indians, right? So that will be the first thought. By the way, I never specified to this engine saying I want students from specific country. I might probably say a group of Indian students, right? Let's see what comes up now. It's creating right now, because that means I'll have to be a lot more precise in what I want. Accordingly, response comes back, right? Let's see what comes up right now. Should be interesting one. Yeah, a lot more Indian, right? Looking at the response that's coming, and looks very diverse also in terms of the way it's represented, right? By the way, just a quick example of the true power of natural language to visual art, right? You give instruction natural language, what comes out is visual art, visual representation of that particular stuff, right? I mean, this is cool, right? This is from, you're not looking up a database and giving information. It's purely coming from a technical diffusion. Okay, let's move forward. I have an interesting use case here. Yeah, so let's look at this. See, all of you understand that what ChatGPT is an application, right? It's been built to demonstrate the true power of generative AI. Now, underneath ChatGPT, the model which is powering ChatGPT are ABCD, Ada, Babbage, Curie, Da Vinci. Those are the models, right? I'm using Da Vinci. This is, by the way, Azure OpenAI Studio. I'm in Da Vinci, and look. So imagine, let's take a scenario where it's a healthcare situation, healthcare industry, and there are doctors basically who constantly look for journals, right? Those journals are something that they depend on to learn new stuff. What's in the world of medicine? Is there a cure for so-and-so medicine? What's happening there and here? Now, here is an example where there's a new journal that's coming which talks about, hey, temporal trends in low dose aspirin use, right? That's basically is the ask here. Now, by the way, journalists come in, I don't have time to read, by the way, right? There is so much happening on a daily basis as a doctor, but can generative AI tell me, hey, without reading a magazine, without reading this particular document, I want to know, is the study conclusive on the benefits of taking low dose aspirin for individuals with diabetes? I'm asking this question straightforward, right? Let's see what comes back. That means for the OpenAI model, I'm saying, hey, Da Vinci model, look at this data and respond to me. It beautifully comes back and says, no, study is not conclusive, right? If it says it was conclusive, then you probably should read it. Make sense, right? I'm going to ask all sorts of questions here, by the way, right? Let's knock this off so that I can get more question. I can say, by the way, your question is, what is a low dose aspirin, right? Let's ask that question and see what happens. Right? So, just for awareness sake, it says low dose aspirin is a medication which is less than 300 milligram. Yeah, this one. Let's move another demonstration here. Okay, let's look at this one. By the way, all of us, make calls to, let's say, let's say e-commerce firms. Let's say Myntra. You made a call to Myntra, and I'm sure all of you would have shopped online, right? Absolutely. I'm sure nobody is left behind here. You would have bought something from Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Now imagine you're not happy with the shipment. Something has gone wrong, and you make a call to the call center, right? And the call center basically, picks up a call, and you're talking to them, and basically you're unhappy with what has happened on the delivery. That means you're not happy with the entire e-commerce, entire buying process itself is disappointing, right? And you're sharing that with the call center agent, and the call center agent basically is in damage control mode. The call center personnel, he or she does not want to basically lose you the customer. So what this person does is, imagine this is a classic conversation between agent and a consumer. Now let's see how beautifully the technology summarizes for us, right? This is a true, I would say, power of generative AI. all of you should know this. You guys have built such cool solutions. Imagine what AI can do for the situation. So here it's a 10-page document. It beautifully summarized saying, hey, you know what? This is a customer conversation, customer disappointed, and this customer is the e-commerce company is offering discount for future shopping, right? I don't have to read through 10-page document and understand what is happening there. Okay. I think I'll take a pause now. I'm sure all the leaders have joined back. So this is a quick glimpse into what is practically possible going forward in the world of AI and mixed reality. Thanks so much, Vinny. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for sharing your inspiring thoughts. It's awesome to have you here. The judges are back in the room and they have discussed the scores, and it is time to make the announcement for the winners of Imagine Cup India finals today. And I will hand this over to Anand to share and make the announcement for the winning teams.
Thank you
Over
so
to you,
much,
Anand.
Vinny. So first up, once again, huge congratulations to all the 4 teams. It was fascinating to see your presentations, and I can tell you I've seen Imagine Cup final presentations in the past, and this was definitely a step up. So great to see the way all of you prepared and all of you brought the use cases out. It was also quite interesting that 3 of the teams were addressing the same sort of big user segment around the visual disability and how you were solving for it, coming from different ways to get there. I would encourage the 3 teams to talk to each other, because I think you can learn from each other and get inspired in building more use cases in what you're doing. But as you can understand, we can only pick 2 out of the 4 that we have here, who will then move on to the global championship. So the 2 winners moving forward into the global championship, and in no order, it's just in the order of presentation, is Biome and Visioneo are the 2 winners. So I will pass it on to Sairi and Shashank to provide their comments, and then we'll wrap up.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Vinny and the team, and congratulations to the winning teams and to everyone who participated. My energy levels are definitely up. I learned so much, and I just love the courage. Hardware meets software and a hard social problem. I think this is deeply telling on the mindset of India today and of our entrepreneurs. So just one thing from me. Look, I think everything you've done today is representative of your courage and hustle and your innovative problem solving. Your problems will evolve, your technologies will evolve, the markets will constantly change, but keep that up. I think that's really, change is the only constant, but being able to take on hard challenges is what this whole thing is all about. So go for it, and of course you have a lot of support. You're on this massive platform, and make the most of it, and collaborate. I think you're taking on hard problems. Bring on peers to help you solve it. So all the best to each one of you.
Thank you, Sairi. And may I request Shashank as well to share your thoughts and feedback?
Yeah, I really loved all the presentations. I'm really, really excited to see the level of creativity and all the hard work that you guys have done to, to get to this stage and to, not just build the product, but also take it in the hands of the, of the potential users, get their feedback, do iterations on it, right, and also, courageously handle all the questions. I think it's really good to see, and I hope you guys will continue in this spirit, right? Because that I think is very important. And I would only give one feedback that I think as you graduate from college and think about think how you can take these products to market, okay? Because some of these have really good potential, and as you take that step of taking the product from more of a R&D research and development phase to more of an actual product with a proper business model, I think that's the real place where I think a lot of people get tested. But I think today, given how rapidly India is progressing from a technological standpoint. I think it's a great time to attempt to take some of these products to market. If you have come this far, right? I've seen historically, like in the past, a lot of because again I have the experience of seeing a lot of people going through Imagine Cup. So I've seen like people build some of these solutions, but somehow they fail to take it to market beyond. But obviously that was a different time. Mobile was not as penetrated, internet was not as penetrated, and today there's a lot more support for entrepreneurs. So that's what I'll leave with, like think about how you can take these solutions to market and focus on launching it. And Imagine Cup is a really a great platform to support and help you take it to market. And also like think about like how you convert it into an actual product and help the country. And this whole theme of hardware plus social plus plus software, I think it's a great intersection. And I'm really glad that all the ideas sort of touched upon that equation, because I think that's where like a lot of real problems in India can be solved. Yeah.
I'll just maybe just add final comments. You heard both from Sairi and from Shashank. They are wonderful entrepreneurs, lighthouses for the entrepreneurial system in the country. And a lot of what they said is gold. So just lean on to that. The only quick comment I would have for both Team Iksha and Idrishti is I think you're on a journey that'll get you to a much better sort of milestone. I know there would be disappointment today that you may have, and you would ask the question, hey, listen, what is it that I could have done differently? My only guidance to you would be, you did a great job. It was tough for us. It wasn't easy to go and have this conversation. So it wasn't as if it was a slam dunk. I just want to let you know that bit. So continue on that journey. Learn from each other. I think you saw 3 other peers around you who did a phenomenal job. So I really want to congratulate you once again for getting to this point. Vinny, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anand, Sari, and Shashank. It was wonderful to have you here today and also sharing your comments and insights. I would like to congratulate the winning teams and also all the teams that have reached the finals. Each one of them has worked hard, and you should see as a big milestone to build up on your ideas. And we will arrange for mentorship sessions for each one of you who has reached to the finals and even in the semi-finals too, because there were wonderful ideas there as well. And we hope that you will continue on this journey of innovation and partnership and collaborate with each other. Heartfelt thanks to the distinguished judges, Sairi, Anant, and Shashank, and inspiring the young leaders and sharing some wonderful insights that will guide them for their future path as well. Would like to thank all the students, mentors, teachers, institutions, our partners as well, who have contributed to make this happen. Thank you. And with this, we wrap up the India Imagine Cup finals. Thanks. And we look forward to being in touch with each one of you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to this interesting video on Google Cloud Platform full course. In this video, we will explore and understand all the important concepts revolving around Google Cloud Platform, starting with the basics of what is GCP and its following concepts like GCP domains comprising various services like compute, storage, networking, IoT, etc. with a proper hands-on demonstration on these services. Following that, we will have a comparison between GCP, AWS and Azure, and we'll see how they differ from each other and how they hold their individuality. And then, at the end, we will understand some of its depth concepts like GCP Web Hosting and GCP Cloud ML. And towards the end, we will take you through GCP fundamentals and certification training that will help you gain this certification. So for this training with me, I have our experienced GCP specialist. Together, we will take you through the various important keynotes of Google Cloud Platform. So let's start with an exciting video on Google Cloud Platform full course. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon and never miss an update from Simply Learn.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. So welcome to this session on Google Cloud Platform. My name is AJ and I'm an instructor with Simply Learn and also working as a big data and cloud architect for various clients across globe. In this session, we learn about Google Cloud Platform, wherein we will learn about what is cloud computing, why Google Cloud Platform, what is GCP, that is Google Cloud Platform, Google Cloud Platform domains, about a use case, that is Ferrero use case, and also a quick demo on using services from Google Cloud Platform. So when we talk about Google Cloud Platform, we also need to know what is cloud computing. So cloud computing is the use of hardware and software components to deliver a service to a network. Users can access these files and applications and services provided by a cloud provider from any device that has access to internet. In short, cloud computing is a way where cloud provider provides access to different services such as resources. And when we talk about resources here, we talk about computing, we talk about memory, we talk about processing power, we talk about storage, and we also talk about different services which cloud providers make available for the users. Now that allows us for automatic software integration, backup and restoring data, unlimited storage capacity, having a reliable use of different services, and having a cost-efficient solution. Now, we know that cloud computing models, there are different service models. So you have platform as a service, you have infrastructure as a service, and you have software as a service. And these are the prominent models which are offered by different cloud providers such as Google Cloud, such as Google, you have Amazon, you have Azure, and also some organizations build their own private clouds using open source OpenStack. Let's focus more on Google Cloud Platform and what it has to offer and how it is gaining popularity in the market with different organizations which would want to work on a cloud platform or which would want to work on an infrastructure which is modernized. So when we talk about cloud computing, this is one of the approach which organizations can take to instantaneously benefit from modernization using different services, different platforms, and also newer technologies for their various requirements such as scalability or dynamic businesses. Before we get into Google Cloud Platform, it is also good to understand where you can find some useful resources about Google Cloud Platform. And here you have a website which is from your Google Cloud. So this is cloudacademy.com/library/Google. And here you can create a free account. Now that would give you just 7 days trial, but that has a lot of videos which talk about your Google Cloud Platform and essentials, and it has various certification related videos which you can access. And then after 7 days after you have tried, you can obviously go for a paid account where you can take detailed learning from here. Now, this is your training library, which shows you different cloud providers such as Amazon, Microsoft Azure, GCP, and then you have various other topics which are specifics to organization. You can obviously look at the pricing, and you can also look at resources which will give you a good experience in learning from these videos. You can also create a free account, which I will walk you through later. So you can create a free account on cloud.google.com. Now, when I say free account, that basically means it allows you to create an account, and every user who creates an account gets a $300 free credit, which can be used to practice, brush up your skills, and also explore and learn about different Google Cloud products which are offered by Google. Now, coming back to our Google Cloud Platform, let's understand why Google Cloud Platform. So Google Cloud Platform is popular for many reasons. Now let us see few of most important reasons why it stands out. When you talk about pricing, pricing is one of the significant factors that make Google Cloud stand out among the other cloud providers. It offers a monthly pricing plan, which is billed according to monthly usage. And when we talk about billing here, the billing can be in hours, it can be in minutes, and it can also be in seconds. There are different options when you talk about your pricing, which can be found from your Google Cloud webpage. Now, pricing could be based on preemptive machines. Pricing could be based on reserved instances or reserved resources. I'll show you the link where you can find more details on pricing part of it. So Google Cloud really has various pricing options which help customers in their different requirements, whether they would go for any of the service models such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or even software as a service. One more attractive thing about Google Cloud pricing is that it provides committed use discounts. For example, under this scheme, you can purchase a specific amount of virtual CPU cores and memory for up to 57% discount off regular prices if you commit usage for either 1 or 3 years. Now, this is just one option. There are various such options which you can learn about from the Google Cloud's page, and that really suits different customers for their different requirements. Now, when we talk about speed, we don't need to really challenge this aspect when it comes to Google services. So Google provides its Google Cloud and Google App customer speed up to 10 terabytes because of its faster cable system. There are different kind of machines which can be used if you're talking about computation, if you're talking about memory hungry applications, or even storage intensive workloads. All in all, speed is one of the defining characteristics of Google Cloud services. The cable has connections over US West Coast, main cities in Japan, and even major hubs in Asia. This speed enhances performances and leads to customer satisfaction. Now, when we talk about customers, any or every customer would prefer to have low latency, high throughput based services. They would want to use higher speeds to process their data in as less time as possible. Google provides a low latency network infrastructure. In fact, you can say that when you are using Google Cloud services, you are using the services from the same infrastructure which Google uses for its popular services such as Google Search or even YouTube, which is one of the second largest repository which can be accessed for videos. Now, when we talk about big data is data which is very complex, has a lot of other characteristics such as your volume, you have velocity, you have variety, you have veracity, validity, volatility, virality, and so on. So if an organization is working on big data, Google Cloud can be a better choice because Google has many innovative tools for cloud warehousing, for example, such as BigQuery, and even real-time data processing tools such as Dataflow. BigQuery is a data warehouse that allows massive processing of data at high speeds, basically working on your structured data. Google also has launched some new machine learning from artificial intelligence tools. Now, there are various other services which we can use from Google Cloud Platform. But let's understand what is Google Cloud Platform and what are some of the services. Even the services which are not listed here can be found in your console from Google Cloud. So what is Google Cloud Platform? GCP. It is a set of cloud computing services provided by Google that runs on the same infrastructure, as I mentioned, that Google uses for its end user products like YouTube, Gmail, and even Google Search. The various set of services offered by Google Cloud Platform are, so you have services which are specific to computing requirements. And again, in computing, you have various different options available. You have machines which are compute optimized, machines which are memory optimized, machines which are storage optimized, and also we have certain machines such as preemptive, which basically means that you could get a machine to work on at a far lesser price than any other machine. But when we talk about preemptive, these are the machines which can be requested on demand and they can be taken back by Google at any time. You have networking related services, which can be very useful when you are setting up your applications or your services across globe. You also have different services which are specific to machine learning, and organizations which would be interested in working on machine learning or artificial intelligence would be really interested in using these services. There are also innovative solutions to work on big data and big data related technologies. Now, when we talk about Google Cloud Platform domains, so we can break down these services into specifics, such as you have compute. Now, the compute service allows for computing and hosting the cloud. Now, when you talk about computing, here there are different services such as App Engine, you have Compute Engine, you have Kubernetes, you have Cloud Functions, and Cloud Run. When you talk about storage and database, so the storage and database service allows application to store media files, backups, or other file-like objects. Now, various services under this are as follows. You have cloud storage, Cloud SQL, Cloud Bigtable for unstructured data. You have Cloud Spanner, Cloud Data Store, Persistent Disks, and Cloud Memory Store. When we talk about networking, the networking service allows us to load balance traffic across resources. Now, as I mentioned earlier, resources could be your different resources which you would be using from a cloud platform, such as your devices, your instances, memory optimized or CPU optimized instances, or other resources, creating DNS records, and much more. So various services under this are VPC, that stands for Virtual Private Cloud. You have Cloud Load Balancing, Cloud Armor, Cloud CDN. You have Cloud Interconnect, DNS, and Network Service tiers. When we talk about the big data service, this allows us to process and query big data in cloud. Now, various services under these are as follows. You have BigQuery, Cloud, Cloud Data Proc, Cloud Composer, Cloud Data Lab, Cloud Data Prep, Cloud PubSub, which is publish and subscribing system. You have Cloud Data Studio. Now, you also have the developer tools, and developer tools service includes tools related to development of an application. Now, various services under these are as follows. That is, you have Cloud SDK, Software Development Kit, you have Deployment Manager, Cloud Source Repositories, and Cloud Test Lab. When we talk about identity and security, which is one of the primary concerns for any organization or any user who would be interested in using a cloud platform, Google Cloud really has taken care of this. So when you talk about identity and security domain, this deals with security services. Now, various services here are Cloud Identity. You have Identity and Access Management, that is Cloud IAM. You have Identity Aware Proxies. You have Cloud Data Loss Prevention API, Security Key Enforcement, Key Management Service, and many more. You also have cloud services which are related to Internet of Things. So very much would be used by organizations who would be working on IoT devices or the data generated by these devices. So various services here are Cloud IoT Core, you have Edge TPU, and Cloud IoT. Also, when we talk about cloud AI, that is artificial intelligence, this comprises of services related to machine learning and much more. So you have Cloud Auto ML, Cloud TPU, Cloud Machine Learning Engine, Job Discovery, Dialog Flow Enterprise, Natural Language Cloud, Text to Speech, and much more. If you would be interested in services related to API platform, then there are different services under this category or this domain. So you have Maps platform, you have APG API platform, monetization, developer portal, analytics, that is API analytics, APG Sense, cloud endpoints, and service infrastructure. So these are some of the listing of services under each cloud platform domain. Now let's look at Ferrero use case, and let's also understand what was done here. So Ferrero is one of the famous chocolate and ranks third among worldwide chocolate and confectionery producers. It was found in 1946 in Italy. I'm sure you would have seen the Ferrero chocolates when you would have gone out to buy some chocolates. So the challenges here was that Ferrero, as we know, is sold in every supermarket and is known for its quality. Once the business grew, some issues arose, right? And that's what happens when the business grows. You have issues popping up, which could be related to the volume of data, the speed with which the data is getting generated, the variety of data, and also looking at your platforms which support different dynamic applications or your scalability requirements, performance requirements, and so on. So it needed data storage, processing, and analysis system for a wide customer database. There was a huge gap between the company and the people who bought its goods because the company relied on data given sales outlets. Now that's one of the challenge. Ferrero wanted to create a digital ecosystem where there was a point of contact with its customers and also a foundation for an innovative data-driven marketing strategy. What was the solution here? So one of the service of cloud platforms or Google Cloud Platform is BigQuery. And this was an answer to Ferrero's challenges since it was capable of hyper-fast and efficient data analysis as a solution. Now, as I mentioned, BigQuery is a data warehouse which allows you to store structured data. Now, this could directly be used as a service where you could store in any amount of data and you would not be paying for storage. So there are different pricing models, and for data up to 1 terabytes, you would not be charged anything. And if you would be accessing the data, that is reading the data or processing the data from BigQuery, that's where the pricing model kicks in. Now, using Google Cloud's BigQuery, business analysts of Ferrero were able to store and analyze massive data sets in a very reliable, fast, and affordable manner. Consumer behavior and sales pattern data reports were easy to build and automate. And the analysis also followed Ferrero to adopt advertising across various marketing channels to serve the customer needs in a better way. What was the result? They could divide their database into real-time, actionable consumer clusters to generate more accurate user profiles. Ferrero was also able to personalize its marketing strategies to match the user needs. Now, Google Cloud Platform completely tailored the website, mobile content, and advertising, and created a very cost-effective media buy strategy. Now, these were some basics on Google Cloud. Now, as I said, you can always find a lot of details about pricing, about services, and also all the services are accessible in your free trial account. Now, let me just walk you through here. So one is you could always find details on documentation on each of these services. So if I would click on getting started, you have quick start, which basically shows you short tutorials. You have trainings and you have also certifications. Now, if we click on quick start, now that takes me to this page, which shows me quick starts, or if you would want to understand about different projects, if you would want to look into the documentation of creating a Linux virtual machine or storing a file and sharing it, deploying a container, Docker container image, and so on. So you have a lot of quick starts here. You can also look at Cloud Minute. On the same page, on the right side, you have docs. And once you click on that, it takes you to these links. Now this shows you build solutions, which shows you top use cases, best practices, all the solutions. It's always good to learn from these use cases which are available. And here you have different featured products and all the different services which Google Cloud offers. Now you can click on featured products, and that basically shows you a list of these products. Now here we have all the solutions which you can look at: architecture, database, enterprise level, big data and analysis, gaming related, Internet of Things, and so on. Now if you go down here, it shows you featured products, and that shows you some of the important products such as Compute Engine, which is belonging to the compute domain. You have Cloud Run, you have Anthos, which is for migration and basically cloud adoption. When organizations would want to move from on-premise to cloud-based solutions, you have Vision AI, you have cloud storage. Now that basically allows you to store any kind of data, whether that's an object. So this is acting as an object storage. You have Cloud SQL, which is basically a ready-to-use service where you would be using MySQL, Postgres, or any other SQL Server database services. You have BigQuery, which is a data warehouse, which basically allows you to store your structured data. And then you have your AI and machine learning related products. So you have AutoML, Vision AI, Video AI, text to speech, speech to text, and so on. Now you also have different platform accelerators which can be used. And in any of these cases, for example, if I would click on Compute Engine, which is a featured product from Google Cloud, now that shows you basically your quick starts using your Linux machines, how-to guides, which tells you completely working on a VM instance or working on storage, working on persistent disks, and so on. And it shows you the documentation here. Now you also have products and pricing option, which you can see for GCP pricing. And you could straight away go to the pricing. You could be looking at solutions, which talks about infrastructure modernization. Now, this is something which organizations are interested in when they would want to move from their on-premise solution to your Google Cloud. Now here, I can say, for example, I click on infrastructure modernization. You can always find some case studies. What are the different solutions we have here, right? When you talk about Google Cloud, so you can always click on see solutions, and you can look at VM migration or SAP Cloud, right? Why Google Cloud, what it can be used for, VMware as a service, or HPC, that is high performance computing. And about these services, we will learn in detail later. Now I can go back on the same page where I was clicking on the services. So you have quick starts, you have how-to guides, you have deep understanding of different concepts, right? And here, if I click on all how-to guides, so that shows me what are the different ways in which you can work with Compute Engine and working with different instances. Although it's quite exhaustive content, but then if you follow steadily, then you can learn a lot about Google Cloud. Now here, I can just go back. So this is just giving you some idea on the different products which are available from Google Cloud, looking into different sections, finding right documentation here, right? And you can always look into each one of these in detail for each product which Google Cloud offers. Now, if we scroll down, we could see all the options or all the domains which we see here, right? Let me just go back because we got into solutions. Now we have quick starts, right? And then you can basically scroll all the way down to look at Cloud SDK, which can be set up on your Windows machine, like I have set it up on my Windows machine. Plus, when you use Google Console, you have a GUI, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes, and also a Cloud Shell where you can use your command line options to work with Google Cloud Platform. you have Cloud Console, which is nothing but your GUI to access your resources. Now you can also look at in-depth tutorials, pricing, and you have different other options. So let's just click on pricing here. And then we have your price list, which basically gives you details of different services, what are available, and what are the services or what are the prices. So for example, if I click on Compute Engine, right, and this shows me the pricing aspect of Compute Engine, which belongs to Compute Domain. And here you can see you have VM instance pricing, you have networking pricing, sole tenant nodes, which are specific to particular organizations, or if organizations would want to have dedicated nodes, you have GPU based pricing, right? So general processing units, you have disk and image pricing, and you can click on any of the links and you can see pricing, which also shows you your different kind of machine types. So here you have different kind of machine types, which says N1, N2, N2D, E2. You have memory optimized machine types, you have compute optimized, you have premium images, and you can basically look at all the categories. You can look at disk pricing, which involves your persistent disk pricing for SSDs or HDDs. What are the kind of images, what are the different network services, right? And you can always look at your machine types. You can choose a particular region, right? There is the concept of region and availability zones here, and as per region you could look at the prices. You can also look at standard prices. You could be looking for what are the free tier machines. If I'm specifically looking for VM instance pricing, I can click on this one, and that takes me to the VM instance pricing. What is the billing module? What is the instance uptime? What is the resource-based pricing? And then you can also look at different kind of discounts, such as sustained use discounts, committed use discounts, discounts for preemptible VM instances, and so on. And this is how you can be looking at pricing for all different resources. And you can choose the resource which you are interested in, and then look for the pricing, benchmarks, reservations if you would want to use and you would want to benefit, if you would want to look at what are the quotas and limits, and so on. So please explore this link and you can find a lot of information when it comes to technical options, looking at different Google Cloud products, which we briefly discussed when it comes to domains and what each product can be used for. You can always come back to the main page where I was showing you different services. We went into pricing straight away, right? Now you can always come back to this page on your cloud.google.com, and then you have your solutions, which talks about different products, right? And you can click on these or you can look into technical documentation. So this talks about your different featured solutions, infrastructure solutions, you have data center migration related, and so on. So I could be talking more and more about Google Cloud Platform. It's a ocean, it's a huge chunk of different services for different organizational requirements. So look into this link. And also what you can do is create a account on Gmail. I mean, you could create a free account, or you could go to cloud.google.com and then you could create a free account like I have created here, and I can just click on console. Now that's my GUI or Google Cloud Console, which basically allows me to work with Google Cloud. Now there are a lot of options here. By default, when you create an account, now in my case on the top it says it's a free trial account. I have $300 credit, and out of that $251 is left, and 237 days out of a year are left for my account. Now here I can basically see the project, right? And by default we can create a project, or by default there is a project existing for any user. So when you log in, it creates a particular project, and you could create a new project, and project would be to dedicate your different services or different resources per different project. So this is your dashboard, which basically shows your project, which shows you a project number and a project ID, which is always unique. Now you can click on this, and this, if you would want, you can hide this information. You can also look into the documentation part of it. Then it shows you the different services or a graphical information of services which you might have used in past. So you have compute engine, which shows you how much percentage of CPU was used. You can always go to compute engine as a service. You can look at your Google Cloud Platform status and look at the Google Cloud status. Now this is billing. Now since this shows me the billing period for April month, and I can always look at detailed charges. I can look at reporting. I can look at different APIs which Google offers. And for your different kind of work, you can always go to the API overview or the API link and enable or disable any API. Now, once you enable or disable any API, then you can use that. So you have news section, you have documentation, and you have getting started guides, which tells you how to work or enable different APIs. If you would want to deploy a pre-built solution, add dynamic logging, monitoring errors, deploying a Hello World app, and so on. Now this is your dashboard. I can click on activity, and that would show me what kind of activity I would have done in my cloud platform. I can always choose the kind of activities by saying activity type. I can choose the resources. Now it shows me that I created some VM instances, I deleted them, I updated some metadata. I basically worked on instances. I changed some firewall rules here. I have then also worked on some other services or APIs. So I created some buckets, which is for object storage. And again, I have been working with some instances and creating some firewall rules. Here, I have granted some permissions. I am setting up a policy, right? So this activity gives me a history of what things I have done over the past couple of months while working on Google Cloud Platform. Now, on the top left corner, you have the hamburger menu, which you can click on this. So that's your navigation menu. And when you click on this, this shows you home. It takes you to the marketplace. It specifically takes you to billing. You can always look at APIs and services. So here in API services, I can pretty much go to a dashboard and I can see a report on the traffic or errors or latency and the kind of APIs which are available. So you have Compute Engine API, you have BigQuery API, BigQuery Data Transfer API, BigQuery Storage, Cloud Data Proc. So these are some of the APIs or services I've used in past. Might be I was evaluating a product, might be I was using a particular product. So you have, whenever you would want to use a particular service from Google Cloud Platform, you would be enabling these APIs. So here we see some APIs for data proc. You have logging, monitoring, you have resource manager API, you have cloud SQL, which allows you to directly use MySQL or Postgres, you have cloud storage, right? And so many APIs. So if I would want to enable a particular API, which is not right now required, but then it's good to know, you can always click on this one. You can search for an API. So for example, if I would say data proc, right? And that shows me the cloud data proc API, which manages Hadoop based clusters and jobs on Google Cloud Platform. So I can spin up a Hadoop cluster and I can start running some jobs on a Hadoop cluster on demand. And as I'm done with it, I can just get rid of it. So this is an API which I would have to enable. And then for every particular service, you also have an admin API, which you would enable. Now, going back, so coming out from this API library, I got into API and services. Now there is, you can look into the library, you can look at credentials, and you can also look at different time intervals for which you can see the usage of your different APIs. Now, going back to the menu, you have support, wherein you can always reach out to the Google support team if you are using a paid version. Even with free trial, you can try to reach out and you will find someone to help, but it is always good when you have a billing cycle, reaching out the customer care. You have identity access management and admin, and this is required when you're working with different APIs or services, when you would want to have relevant access. You have getting started, you have security related options, you have Anthos, which is mainly for migration. Now here you can look at your different domains, such as which we discussed. So you have compute, and in compute, you have different services. So you have App Engine, you have Compute Engine, Kubernetes, you have Cloud Functions and Cloud Run. You can look into the storage aspect, which shows you Bigtable, which is usually and mainly for your unstructured data. Bigtable, which is something which gave rise to popular NoSQL databases like HBase and Cassandra. You have Data Store, which can be used. You have Firestore, File Store, Storage, which can be used to put in data of any kinds. You have SQL for structured data. You have Spanner as a service. You have Memory Store, and you have Data Transfer. Now, when it comes to the networking domain, you have all these services such as VPC, Virtual Private Network, network related services for your load balancing, for using a cloud-based DNS or cloud-defined network. You have hybrid connectivity, network service tiers, security, and intelligence. Then you have other options for your operations, which can be